This is Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about. Real, honest, entertaining, live. DBL starts right now.
3, 2.
Welcome to DBL. It's Tuesday, June 8th. I'm Tori here with Lindsay and Brandon. You
What's
look
going on?
Back from your baby shower?
I am. I feel very pregnant.
Yeah. And I told her before the show started, like, she's got the pregnant woman braid on the side.
And the flowers going on, so I'm giving you guys like a Beyonce moment right now.
We appreciate it. Everybody clap. We're all here for it. All right, let's get to the stories here, because we've talked about this personally, right? I bet you guys have too. When does cancel culture just go too far? And should people be held accountable for past actions or associations? So that's the conversation we're having today, because there's a lot of stories about people being canceled. Well, just this morning, it's been reported that Chris Harrison is officially breaking up with Bachelor Nation. Good one. Chris came under fire for defending a contestant who attended an Old South party on a plantation when she was in college. Now, according to Deadline, Chris's final rose is coming in the form of an 8-figure payout. Ooh. Next example is actress Ellie Kemper, who you might know from The Office or Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt. Ellie is now apologizing after this picture of her went viral. It shows her as the winner of a debutante ball. Ellie posted this on Instagram saying, "When I was 19 years old, I decided to participate in a debutante ball in my hometown. The century-old organization that hosted the debutante ball had an unquestionably racist, sexist, and elitist past. I was not aware of this history at the time, but ignorance is no excuse. I want to apologize to the people I've disappointed, and I promise that moving forward, I will listen and continue to educate myself and use my privilege in support of the better society I think we're capable of becoming." So we have to talk about this. That's what we do here. What do you think about Chris leaving The Bachelor and Ellie's apology? Are these cases of cancel culture going too far? Let's start with Chris Harrison. I was never like, woo, Chris Harrison. I'm sorry. I wasn't. He reminds me of Carson Daly, where there's like nothing. It's like vanilla. And I think that show, he might have been at the end of his run there anyway. What do you think, Brandon?
I mean, how are you as the corporation or the network, how are you trying to show that you're woke, but you're giving out an 8-figure payout? You know what I'm saying? So it's not about Chris Harrison to me, because I've said this before. On my scale of racism, 1 to 10, what he did was like, what, a 2 for trying to defend some white woman who was back in the day wasn't woke, probably knew nothing about what she was wearing, what she was doing, and now we're cutting off that conversation of not being able to talk to people with this with canceling people right away. So Lindsay, again, the network gave this man 8 figures. Is that really their way of saying, hey, we're not standing behind that type of behavior?
And that's fair, because let's talk about 8 figures. It's like $10 to $99 million. Like, I can't even think about that.
Yeah. Well, with Chris Harrison, he wasn't at the event, so that's the thing. He's like, it's like extreme punishment for somebody who wasn't even there. He said something stupid, and he's like constantly a person that's in the media, like on TV. So what I think he said was stupid. I think he should apologize, and I think he should acknowledge it, and just like he has been, but I don't think that he should have lost his job. But I do think that The Bachelor and ABC are probably hiding behind the fact that they have had no diversity for like the 2 decades or had 20 seasons, whatever, 26 seasons of the show. And so now they finally have one black girl that actually won and one black guy that had no wife. And
a black
so now,
host.
they have one thing that's happened. Now they're having 2 women hosts for once, and now they want to be like, oh, well, with all this forward thinking, now that we're in our 100th season, we also can't have this guy who said that he supports parties at plantations as the lead host of our show. So I think they just made a decision that protects the network. I mean, as far as 8 figures, I don't know what his deal was with them. But
well, he was the Bachelor for a long time. Like, he was that guy.
Right.
I will just quickly go around with Ellie Kemper. I think her apology was fine. I have no reason to cancel her. As you and I were talking at the coffee machine.
I hate her apology. One, it was too long to read. Like, come on. Like,
What do you
don't
say,
give me
a line?
book of apologies, Lindsay. No, that was a publicist's apology. In the day and age of social media, where you control your narrative, you can control your apology. Why not just come out, do an Instagram live, and be like, hey guys, this is what it was. I was 19. I grew up in this weird small town where they had raisins in the potato salad that night, and I didn't know what was going on. Please don't
cancel me. Because you can't retweet that well. Do you see what I'm saying? That's not a statement.
And also, when we clip out a part of that, we can clip out the 2 seconds that she said that was misspoken or wrong or not politically correct or doesn't sit well with black people, and then she gets canceled even further. So I think it's smart to do something that's thought out and well thought out and put on paper. But I also think, she said she understands her privilege, and so I think to go to an event like this or participate in an organization like this, you don't understand how this history in our country affects people of color, and you're ignorant to it. So what you can do is now take steps forward to not be ignorant, to not make your kids be ignorant, so that they're not participating in stuff like this. That's how we really learn, because people don't know a lot of things. She was 19, and I think that it's not an excuse, but just do way better than that.
There you go.
Well, she tells us that, not her publicist.
Fair. Let us know what you guys think. All right, if you thought your partner was cheating or up to something, how far would you go to find out? Would you hire a private investigator?
This is going to be
Yes, I would. No. So Vanity Fair is out with new details about Bill and Melinda Gates' divorce. In the article, they say Bill would change cars to meet with women. They also claim someone from Melinda's team hired a private investigator to dig up up dirt on the billionaire. Now Melinda's team denies this, saying Melinda never hired a PI. But the question is, would you hire a private investigator to spy on your partner, yes or no? So DBL Nation, we got to know what you think. Go to dblvote.com to weigh in. I've had instances in my family where this has happened and a private investigator has had to be called in, and it wasn't sort of, you realize when you're dealing with real issues with kids, with money, it becomes the highest of stakes. And why not have a professional? Why not have a paper trail? Why not have documentation of where that person went if it's not illegal?
I mean, when I look at the Bill and Melinda Gates thing specifically, I'm so taken aback. Remember, I was like, this is like the most calm, organized couple. The fact that he's running around and getting 2 different Porsches.
Yeah, what's up with Bill Gates?
Yeah, I just can't. But aside from that, I've always felt like if I have to go to the point where I'm like digging through someone's phone or hiring an investigator, and I know when you have kids and you're trying to get a divorce and get what you think you deserve, there's a whole different level to it. But I just feel like if I'm there, I should have stepped away already.
True.
If I'm there, I should have walked away.
But if you have all these entanglements, right, and if you're Bill and Melinda, let's just say, or you have, even take Bill and Melinda Gates out of it, you have all these entanglements. Do you at some point realize, I got to go to a professional?
I know, well, divorce gets nasty, but I hope that I marry somebody that is not that type of person. But that's what everybody says. You don't know somebody until you divorce them, right?
True.
So a lot of people.
True. We hope too, Lindsay.
No, for real. A lot of people get divorced and they said they don't know the person they were divorcing.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, Nas famously talked about in his album with Khalees, like they had the best relationship ever. He was stepping out and then he cheated and she was trying to take all of his money. He sat there and he said he looked at the lawyer and was like, "Who are you? Who is this girl who is my wife?"
See, yeah, when there's money involved, absolutely. Because if you're both broke and one's stepping out, I mean, you can't split. What's half of nothing? You know, if both of you have nothing involved, so who cares? But I agree with when it comes to the kids that are involved, or if there's some sort of infidelity clause in that contract. Absolutely, especially in Hollywood. But what just happened to the days of just going through someone's pants and finding a phone number on a napkin or something?
He has an assistant to collect numbers.
I was thinking this dude was buying up all the farmland. Like, I thought this guy was the nerdiest, most boring person in the world, but it's the quiet ones you have to worry about.
Who knows? Who knows? We are apologizing. Allegedly. We're apologizing. We had a tech issue with our voting. We're working on that. We want to get that.
Oh, man, I want to know what the people think. They got to write in the comments.
DBL Nation. I think they say yes.
I think so,
I think they say yes.
And also, how cool is it to be a PI?
I mean, as a career?
Yeah.
Well, you go home and bring back information that's going to stress people out.
I like it. I think I could be a good one. Write us in and think if I would be. All right. How much are you willing to pay for food and drink while you're out at a theme park or attraction? $10?
Nah.
20?
20.
All right.
Well, I would go for 10.
How about this?
20 for a hot dog.
How about $100? That's how much this sandwich is at Disney California Adventure. It does serve a family of 6 to 8. Still, the sandwich is getting roasted, another good pun, online, with one person says, quote, "It doesn't look that great. Sorry, salami and ham for $100? But the question is, how much are you willing to pay when you're out at one of these places? And do you just expect to overpay? When I go to Disneyland, just so you guys know, a pickle on a stick is like $1 million. So like, just know, like, I don't care. I want to enjoy my fantasy. It's terrible. They're raking people in. I get it, but it's the convenience of being there.
I can't say, me and you have the same mindset on like saving money.
True,
so I'm confused that you can say
splurge.
this. I used to go to the movie theaters. I used to work at the movie theaters when I was younger, and everything was like $10, and I refused.
Oh, wow.
I just used to bring my own popcorn, which is not right. You're not supposed to bring your own popcorn.
No, but yeah, Tori, you kind of threw me off there as well because you're a little old school, new school. I remember when we used to go to like King's Dominion or Busch Gardens as kids, don't ask for a hot dog. We had a cooler right here. One of my aunts and my mom, there was a cooler. You better go back out there, get one of your little Huggies, bring it back in. And the lunch, we would leave the park to have lunch.
No.
So when my nieces and nephews are like, "Oh, can you get me this?" No, I'm taking it back to the old school.
You guys are putting like things in your bra, like
big purse.
That makes total sense. All right, coming up on DBL, we're chatting with the one, the only R&B superstar, Monica. From her new true crime series to reuniting with Brandy, she's dishing the deets. And we're all familiar with annoying house guests, right? Are some of you living with them right now? You're nodding to me, yes? The most nerve-wracking habits coming up next.
Closed captioning provided by
It feels like we've been talking about space tourism for decades, but it could finally be launching into reality. Let's connect the dots. In April of 2001, wealthy businessman Dennis Tito paid $20 million for a seat on a Russian Soyuz. It was pricey for a short trip, and since then, only 7 people have followed suit. According to reports, NASA's always been hesitant to allow tourists to travel with astronauts. It was really only the Russians, looking to cover costs, that were willing to let tourists on board. But now, with the rise of private companies, options to travel into space are popping up left and right. Blue Origin is planning a suborbital flight on July 20th. While Jeff Bezos and his brother will be on board, there'll also be a winner of an online auction. And in September, SpaceX is launching 4 civilian astronauts into space on board the Crew Dragon capsule. Despite these promising steps, it hasn't been smooth sailing. Virgin Galactic is the other big private player when it comes to space tourism. A pilot was killed in a crash in 2014, and engineers were forced to make changes. Now it says it won't launch tourists until 2022. Then there's the price. Depending on the trip, tickets range from $55 million to $200,000, keeping the stars out of reach for most of us.
Welcome back to DBL. Big shout out to our coworkers working from home. I saw Anthony in there. We will be reunited in studio soon, safely, of course. What's that song? Reunited
And it feels so good.
We have to pay for any more. Okay.
Okay.
Now that people are getting together again, there is a new poll out revealing the most annoying house guest behaviors ever. So here are the top 5 most annoying things guests do. Number 5. Go through your medicine cabinet.
No.
How do you catch them?
Oh, no.
That's
Because this is how you do it. You put stuff, when you know you have people coming, you put stuff in a certain way. You organize it right. So you turn the label that way. So when you go back, you
That's
know
as bad as a private
investigator.
investigator.
That's
I would
good.
hope that the
That's
people
That's your
have
medicine
decency in my
cabinet.
house.
I don't want people seeing what pills I take.
That's
Oh, man.
exactly right. Number 4 is someone showing up with their dog. I
No.
would be so happy.
That's not right. We need to have a full conversation before you show up.
Yeah.
What? What did they show up with a German Shepherd?
Okay, you're right. We need to have a conversation
Yes,
beforehand. No, that's fair. That's fair. But I would be really excited. Okay. Next is going upstairs without asking.
Yes,
Oh
this is
my God.
There's a bathroom downstairs.
Yep.
Stay down there.
And what do you think in your head? You're so good that you can just walk up those stairs?
Why do you want to see my medicine cabinet that bad?
What is in Brandon's medicine cabinet?
And I guarantee you, people who just automatically go upstairs without asking don't take their shoes off before they walk in their house.
Do you guys both take your shoes off? I don't do that, and maybe
I
that's
ask people. I don't like
You-
just
every
assume that my
time?
shoes should be off in someone's house.
You don't, because you wear mismatching socks.
You do?
Yeah.
I don't believe in matching your socks. It takes too much time and life is short.
Oh my gosh.
Moving on. I'm sorry. Number 2 is putting their feet up on your furniture.
That doesn't bother me.
Really?
Yeah, like be comfortable. Are you like the grandpa that puts the plastic on the couch to preserve it forever? Like your couch has to get worn in.
Can I ask you a question? If someone kicked their shoes off and put it up on your ottoman and you hadn't said feel free to make yourself at home like that, would it not be a little forward?
It depends on the guest. Like if it's my sister, I would be like, take your foot down. You're getting too comfortable. But if it's like an associate, I'd be really caught off guard.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
All
Fair.
All right. You had me worried there.
Yeah, you had me worried too.
All right.
All right. And the most annoying behavior is wiping their dirty hands on your sofa. First of all, that is a dirty, dirty hand in the picture. But what is that about?
You're like what level of comfortability do we have?
Wait,
for
but does
you
that
to do
happen?
That?
Who's doing this a lot?
I've never seen that before.
Yeah, I haven't. I mean, unless it's a child with like eating chocolate, like that's
chips. Okay, I will
chips or
admit to
something.
this. I once was eating some chocolate chip cookies, and then I went into a blanket on someone's couch, and I did like ruin one of their cushions.
You got like
As an
crumbs
adult?
of the chocolate chips?
No, as a kid, and I do feel really bad about it. You got to be careful.
I think the worst thing is like giving me a heads up of like a couple minutes or a half an hour, just like I'm in town.
Oh,
and
you
then it's
need
like,
more
oh, I
time.
have to accommodate you now that you're in town, or not washing the dishes if you just make a mess constantly.
Oh, okay. Yeah. But be
That's-
spontaneous. People want to, they forgot that you lived in a certain town. They want to reach out. You're a new homeowner. May
I
want to
didn't get a
check it
chance to
out.
clean up. You just gonna come. Where
Your
you
house should
sleeping?
always be clean.
I
Your house
told
should
somebody,
always
no,
be
you
clean.
can't stay
Okay,
before.
let's-
I'm
House should
sorry.
always
Let's
be
go
clean.
see a Brandon London. Let's go check
Exactly,
out the
where
camera
to?
right now. All right, coming up on DBL, we're catching up with R&B singer Monica. Is the boy hers or Brandy's? Great
Still
writing
trying to
today.
figure that out.
That's coming up next. The boy is mine.
Times a day, you may get that insufferable call that has
This message is from the Social Security.
or on the other end, and you've probably wondered, why can't we stop robocalls?
The U.S. is somewhere close to 5 billion robocalls every month.
It's just certainly important to not pick up the phone unless you absolutely know who's calling.
Our sources are Alex Kalichi, CEO of UMail, a company that specializes in blocking robocalls, and Amy Knopfziger, Director of Fraud Victim Support for AARP.
Think of robocalls as like banner ads. They're really cheap, they're really easy to do, and enough people click on them or answer the call and respond that they're worth doing.
For something so easy to make, our experts say they're difficult to stop, especially when they come from spoofed phone numbers.
It's like a game of whack-a-mole. You take one down and another one pops up.
To start, law enforcement officials are limited by their jurisdictions.
So a lot of the call centers are actually overseas, but the biggest problem is it's hard to tell the good robocallers from the bad.
And that's the other point. States and the federal government can't just stop all robocalls. A large section of robocalls are actually helpful. They're used for prescriptions or for doctor's appointments. So in the meantime, companies like UMail have designed apps to weed out the bad ones. And our experts say the federal government recently passed laws to help cell phone providers do the same.
Because it's actually going to allow and empower these telecommunication companies to verify and authenticate the phone number that is showing up on your caller ID.
Watching in plain view, you caught up and tangled in the web of the world. I wish I could save you.
Ooh, I'm grooving right there. Welcome back to DBL. That's Grammy Award-winning singer Monica's new music video, Trenches, and we caught up with Miss Thang herself earlier in today's Chatting with the Stars.
Welcome to DBL. We have a lot to talk about, including your new celebrity true crime series plus new music. It's been more than 20 years since you earned a Grammy with fellow R&B singer Brandy for The Boy Is Mine, and I want to know the best part about reuniting with Brandy for the Versus battle, which you won, by the way.
For me, I felt like it was a win for the culture in a lot of different facets, and I'll tell you why. We had not come together or done anything together in almost a decade at that point. And I wanted it to be special. And we knew that it had to end with The Boy Is Mine.
Yes.
There's no song to play after The Boy Is Mine.
Right.
And they made it all happen. So I'm really glad that we were able to do something like that.
You just released the title track off your upcoming new album, Trenches, which features rapper Lil Baby. What can you tell us about it?
That record is special to me. It is the title track off my new album, which is now done.
Yeah.
It's being mixed and mastered. It took me a very long time. It is a very transparent record. I am talking that talk, as we say.
I can't wait. I can't wait.
Well, congrats to that. Now, you're super busy. You're hosting the new true crime series show on VH1 called Infamy, When Fame Turns Deadly. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes. Infamy was a dream come true for me. I grew up being a big fan of true crime series, Snapped, First 48, America's Most Wanted. All those shows were shows I watched. And this one kind of parallels in different ways. But what I love most about Infamy is it really takes you through a walk of who the victims were from their childhood, where they were born and raised, and what their life was really like. And then it also gives you a chance to hear from the people that are still mourning their loss. We talk to mothers and fathers and sisters and brothers, and you realize how these tragedies really changed lives.
The price of fame can be deadly.
I like that the spotlight is on the victim and surviving family and not the perpetrator, which we often see in true crime. Well, you've been using your voice, Monica, to speak about other important topics. You recently shared that you are recovering from surgery related to endometriosis. My mom has had that. It is incredibly painful. Why was it so important to share this experience with other women? Because I know some women have never even heard of it, which is crazy to me.
Well, I had never heard of it just 4 years ago when I was diagnosed. Endometriosis is extremely painful, and women monthly feel like suffering is a part of the deal when you're a woman. But you find out when you learn about endometriosis that we shouldn't be in excruciating pain. And you learn that every age can suffer from endometriosis. So once I was diagnosed, I initially had the first surgery, and it was not like the second. The second was very hard. I was in the hospital a week, and I ended up having multiple blood transfusions. But now being on a bit of the mends and recovering, I've become somewhat of an advocate because I want women to know what this disease is, and I want them to know that there is help for them.
Spread the word to all your female friends. Gentlemen, get to know the word endometriosis, and thank Monica for speaking out about it. Monica, it's been an honest pleasure.
DBL Nation, be sure to check out Infamy When Fame Turns Deadly on VH1, and we will be right back.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by
Local leaders and businesses are getting creative to try and convince people to get the COVID-19 shot. But do vaccine incentives really work? Let's connect the dots. It depends on how hesitant people are in the first place. The more hesitant someone is, the less likely an incentive will work. According to a recent poll, men were more likely than women to get the shot for a prize. The survey also found millennials were the age group most likely to be motivated by freebies. Cash is king. A study earlier this year found that 2/3 of adults say money is what's most likely to motivate them to get the vaccine. But some experts say incentives could backfire. Psychologists say offering cash for something makes people think there's a risk associated with it, which is not the case with the COVID shot. And that is connecting the dots.
This is for Jeff Schroeder from your co-workers at Daily Blast Live. Well, you've been around the sun another time, Jeff. That means you're a year older. One time around the sun is a year. Well, you want to be me for a day. Whoa. What you have to do is get up at 5:35 a.m. Get dressed, stretch out, brush your teeth, wash your face, and everything else you do by instinct. No plans. The best way to make plans is don't make them. Just be natural with it, your natural purpose of living. Now, we were both on Big Brother. I'm in London and you're in LA. Okay.
Welcome back to DBL. When it comes to your home, design trends can go in and out of style pretty quickly. According to an HGTV host, certain trends actually tank your home's value. So we're chatting about it in today's Bang for Your Buck presented by The Hartford. First, do not go overboard with do-it-yourself projects. DIY stuff are usually too personal, and potential home buyers may not appreciate your unique sense of style. Second, excessive tiling. Chill out. It's a new and popular trend, but it can make the room feel smaller and busy. And lastly, try to avoid painting your walls gray. The color actually doesn't photograph well, which is important when reselling your home. When it comes to your home, we've made it easy for quality and affordable home insurance. The Buck's got your back. The Hartford will be happy to provide you solutions. Call The Hartford at 1-800-684-6085 or visit thehartford.com to learn more. We did get a comment from Marilyn Disler Rogers on Facebook saying, "Are you kidding me? You might not like Chris Harrison, but many did. Cancel culture has gone way too far." She didn't know what she was saying. On and on and on. So she strongly disagrees, which is what this show's about. Yeah. We'll be new every day. We'll see you same time, same place tomorrow. Bye, guys. Here's what we're talking about today on Daily Blast Live. Chris Harrison leaves the Bachelor franchise for good. Plus, actress Ellie Kemper apologizes for her past involvement in a pageant with racist ties. Is cancel culture getting out of control? Another shocking revelation in the Gates divorce saga. Did Melinda really hire a private investigator to spy on Bill? Plus, Wayne Brady is here live, and Yolanda Ross from The Chi tells us all about working with Denzel Washington.
Denzel touched your hair?
Like, mess with it.
Real, honest, entertaining, live. DBL starts right now.
3, 2.
Little delay there, David. Just kidding. Welcome to DBL. It's Tuesday, June 8th. I'm Sam here with Jeff, Al, and Erica. I love this. Welcome back, Al. We missed you.
Thank you. Good to be back. I'm a little shiny because I'm straight from the airport, so I'm a little sweaty.
Landed, from the airport.
Took a shower and came here. I took a shower because of you guys.
Wow.
I love y'all.
Well, thank you.
But yeah, it was worth it. I mean, South Carolina was amazing. Woke up there this morning, and now at noon I'm with my best friend, so life is good.
Oh, we love you, Al.
Hey, Al, does this feel good?
This is, it's like surreal, yes, because I haven't seen this all together, so let's do a show.
And it's close, right?
I love it.
All right, well, let's get to it because cancel culture is a topic we have on the show quite a bit, right? Well, we got some more for you. We have a question. When does cancel culture go too far? And should people be held accountable for past actions or associations? That's the big conversation today, because there are a couple of stories about people being canceled. So just this morning, it's been reported that Chris Harrison is officially breaking up with Bachelor Nation. We're going to talk all about this a little later in the show, so stay tuned for that story. But right now, let's talk about actress Ellie Kemper. You might know her, of course, from The Office or Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt. Ellie is now apologizing after this picture of her went viral, showing her as the winner of a debutante ball when she was just 19 years old. So Ellie posted this on Instagram saying, quote, "The century-old organization that hosted the debutante ball had an unquestionably racist, sexist, and elitist past. I was not aware of this history at the time, but ignorance is no excuse. I want to apologize to the people I've disappointed, and I promise that moving forward, I will listen, continue to educate myself, and use my privilege in support of the better society I think we're capable of becoming." So what do you think about Chris leaving Bachelor Nation, and did Ellie need to apologize? Are these cases of cancel culture going too far, in your opinion, Jeff?
So we're going to talk about Chris later.
Let's talk about Chris later.
Okay,
let's
just focus on Ellie.
On Ellie.
Okay, so I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. Did these pictures leak and then she had to apologize, or did she try to get ahead of it first? Because I don't understand the organization. I don't know the racist, sexist, misogynistic part of this story.
But you don't know about the organization.
I don't know about the organization. Right. So what is the organization? What are we...
She's talking about the organization that sponsored this pageant, basically. And it's very interesting that this is happening on the same day that Chris Harrison is officially stepping down from The Bachelor, Bachelorette, and I know we'll talk about that later, but you look at that in comparison to the response from Rachel Corcano, who was the selected Bachelorette from last season. You know, she very much doubled down, and not necessarily publicly, but it was very telling by the reaction that Matt, the Bachelor, had to her lack of even wanting to understand why this was antiquated, racist, and misogynistic, and all the other things. So the fact that she's coming forward, that's really what you have to do. If you feel like you've done something, and we've all done things in our past, it's just a matter of time for some of us, but we've all done things, and if you really feel like you've changed and you've evolved, then you say, hey, listen, I am not the version of that person. I understand why these things are wrong, and I am going to make sure that other people understand from this point forward. I am sorry.
So given that she's done that, do you feel,
I'm still a little confused. Okay. I want to go back, because now what you're saying is if I played Little League Baseball and the president was racist, I have to go back and figure that out in some sort of way?
I think this is a little different than that. You're talking about an institution that started and rooted in racism, oppression, and degradation. So she's saying that she didn't understand all of those elements of the history at the time, but now that she understands it, she's apologizing because she wants other people to understand. These are organizations that are very much inbred into societies and cultures. And if she's someone who people look at as an example, then it is her responsibility, if that's how she feels, to come forward and say this was wrong and this is why.
Here's my thing. I don't mean to keep doing this, but if you're brought up in a certain part of the country or a certain area, those things are going to be ingrained in the culture. You can't control that as a little child. And if you're part of a pageant, and then you're in that not realizing that at 19 years old, why would you have to apologize for that?
Well, I think as a pageant or someone who is actually has won a pageant, then you're also promoting a platform. So you're not just a participant, you're also very much an ambassador. So when you're coming forward and saying, you know, this isn't my ideology and I did not understand, it is important in that situation. We're not talking about like things that are ingrained in most institutions, to be quite honest, because there's sexism, misogyny, and racism all over the place.
I'll say this, because I see where both of you guys are coming from, but I think we need to remember that when you apologize for anything, a lot of people say, remember we talked about recipes and like changing Auntie's recipe a little bit to make it more healthy? What you're saying is I want you to live longer, but what she's hearing is there's something wrong with this recipe that's been in our family for this long. And that's a lot about what we're hearing now. When somebody feels like you need to apologize for being in this play, for dressing the way the people in the pictures in my family look like when I look? That's where I think we're getting the pushback. I don't think they necessarily care about the play. I don't think they care about the pageant at all. What they're saying is, why is who I identify with something I need to apologize for? And I think once we can have that conversation, just like we can have that conversation with Auntie about why we need to use, we can't use lard anymore. We need to switch it on up to something else. I think we can move forward. But when people feel attacked, they're not going to move.
I agree with that. I totally agree with that.
You just have a problem with like a teenager who's in a household who's just following.
I don't have a problem with it. That's not the right way to say that.
That's not the right way. I'm trying to take your side.
Absolutely. But
yes.
we have to be very careful about this and the words that we use.
No, you're right. I think where you're coming from, and this is where I wrestle with, even though I agree with both of you, because as an adult, if you're 19 years old, you can fight for your country. You should know better. However, there are caveats to your point where if you're a teenager, you're growing up in this bubble, right? And then essentially, it's your parents' responsibility to educate you, or your school system, which we all know is whitewashed, right? A lot of these textbooks do not paint the picture. They probably don't even tell you what the history of debutante balls are and how they're rooted in white supremacy. So I agree with you. At 19 years old, is it more her parents' responsibility, the school's responsibility, her responsibility, and should she have to apologize? But now that she knows that it was rooted in white supremacy, as an adult, can she look back and say, oh, this makes me cringe. I'm so sorry. I wish I would have known more. And I think both can be true.
I think that's exactly true.
It's also important that she took the responsibility.
Yes.
My first thought was, that wasn't her.
Right.
Like, that was likely where she grew up. That was likely her
product of her
parents.
environment, yes.
But she decided not to bring that up. It's almost like you make a mistake and you happen to be drinking. You're like, I was drunk. Well, no, just own up to the mistake. It's a mistake.
Such an important conversation.
Yes.
I'm so glad that we were able to fully hash it out, because I know a lot of you are just quick to say cancel her or don't cancel her when there's a lot of nuance. We'll be right back.
Closed captioning provided by
It feels like we've been talking about space tourism for decades, but it could finally be launching into reality. Let's connect the dots. In April of 2001, wealthy businessman Dennis Tito paid $20 million for a seat on a Russian Soyuz. It was pricey for a short trip, and since then, only 7 people have followed suit. According to reports, NASA's always been hesitant to allow tourists to travel with astronauts. It was really only the Russians, looking to cover costs, that were willing to let tourists on board. But now, with the rise of private companies, options to travel into space are popping up left and right. Blue Origin is planning a suborbital flight on July 20th. While Jeff Bezos and his brother will be on board, there'll also be a winner of an online auction. And in September, SpaceX is launching 4 civilian astronauts into space on board the Crew Dragon capsule. Despite these promising steps, it hasn't been smooth sailing. Virgin Galactic is the other big private player when it comes to space tourism. A pilot was killed in a crash in 2014, and engineers were forced to make changes. Now it says it won't launch tourists until 2022. Then there's the price. Depending on the trip, tickets range from $55 million to $200,000, keeping the stars out of reach for most of us.
Welcome back to DBL. If you thought your partner was cheating or up to something. How far would you go to find out? Would you hire a private investigator? Well, Vanity Fair is out with new details about Bill and Melinda Gates' divorce. And in the article, they say Bill would change cars to go meet with women. Say what? They also claim someone from Melinda's team hired a private investigator to dig up dirt on the billionaire. Now Melinda's team denies this, saying Melinda never hired API. But the question is, would you hire a private investigator to spy on your partner? Yes or no? DBL Nation, what do you think? Go to dblvote.com to weigh in. Let's not get in the weeds as far as because we know that certain people might do it for divorce purposes or custody, whatever it may be. Let's just boil it down to brass tacks. If you suspected your partner,
listen, I think Erica Cobb probably has the best answer. If you want to boil it down, I don't know why, because Erica just has good advice and she'll break it down.
No, I would not hire a private investigator if I suspected.
Because why though? Because I know what you're going to say. If you know, you know, right?
Right. I would feel like if I was that rooted in the belief that my husband was being unfaithful to me,
then no trust.
Right, there's something else going on. There's a whole lot going on. So no, am I going to spend my good money to go and figure it out? No, because eventually everything that's done in the dark comes to the light.
I would say that Erica is more intuitive than most people, including me. And so you might not know. And do you want to risk that oh, I just know? And then you're like, what if they were planning a surprise party? You told me that Jordan said you were acting weird the morning that you were going to ask her to marry her. And she thought you were cheating. So what if she had hired a PI or broken up with you? It's you do kind of want to know if it's somebody you've invested the last couple years of your life with. So, I mean, wouldn't you rather just be wrong and have a funny story at dinner?
That's not funny.
I don't know.
How is that funny?
Let me tell you about the time I've hired a private investigator, but Jeff was about to marry me. That's a cute story.
Now, I will have to be honest that a lot of me would want to hire a PI, and I would want to do my own PI. I'd want to peruse Facebook, the phone. I've never had to do that with Mark, and I never foresee having to do that because we do have trust. But I know a part of me would want to be my own PI.
Yeah, I think there's something we don't admit to. I think people kind of want that. I think people kind of want to dig a little bit.
Sam wants to paint her face and sneak around.
Yeah.
Don't say paint my face.
What do you mean?
Late at night?
What do you mean paint
a
my
robber.
face? What? Robbers paint their faces?
Like camouflage, like you're in the bushes. What do you think I meant? Like something dirty?
No, but...
What kind of weird stuff do you guys do?
I think that's a wrap. Was that producer? Yeah, I think that's a wrap.
Would you hire a private investigator? 53% of you say yes. Okay. Coming up on DBL, Wayne Brady is here.
I hope he's listening.
Are we sure he's still here?
Oh my God.
Brady's here live from Let's Make a Deal to collaborating with actress Glenn Close. We're going to talk all about it next.
Times a day, you may get that insufferable call that has
This message is from the Social Security
or on the other end, and you've probably wondered, why can't we stop robocalls?
The U.S. is somewhere close to 5 billion robocalls every month.
It's just certainly important to not pick up the phone unless you absolutely know who's calling.
Our sources are Alex Kalichi, CEO of Umail, a company that specializes in blocking robocalls, and Amy Knopfziger, Director of Fraud Victim Support for AARP.
Think of robocalls as like banner ads. They're really cheap, they're really easy to do, and enough people click on them or answer the call and respond that they're worth doing.
For something so easy to make, our experts say they're difficult to stop, especially when they come from spoofed phone numbers.
It's like a game of whack-a-mole. You take one down and another one pops up.
To start, law enforcement officials are limited by their jurisdictions.
So a lot of the call centers are actually overseas, but the biggest problem is it's hard to tell the good robocallers from the bad.
And that's the other point. States and the federal government can't just stop all robocalls. A large section of robocalls are actually helpful. They're used for prescriptions or for doctor's appointments. So in the meantime, companies like Umail have designed apps to weed out the bad ones. And our experts say the federal government recently passed laws to help cell phone providers do the same.
Because it's actually going to allow and empower these telecommunication companies to verify and authenticate the phone number that is showing up on your caller ID.
Welcome back to DBL. With 5 Emmys and a Grammy nod, Wayne Brady has made a name for himself as a comedian, actor, and TV host. But now the funny man is showing another side of himself, and he's joining us live. Wayne, welcome to DBL. Look at that heart on the shirt. I like it.
Hey there. Thank you.
So you're currently nominated for an Emmy for Outstanding Game Show Host. Now, Alex Trebek joins you in that category. Many fans would love to see the late Jeopardy host win, including yourself. But who do you think should replace him on Jeopardy?
I really don't have a thought on it. I mean, whoever is the best person for it. Jeopardy is an institution. It's there are people who could do the job. No one is ever going to be Alex Trebek, and people like what they like. I think it all matters on. It could be anyone from Anderson Cooper to LeVar Burton, who I think would be an amazing choice. There are people lined up who each could do a great job in their own right. It all depends on what people want to see. Personally, I love someone like LeVar, and I love what he brings to the table. Let's see what happens.
Wayne, I'm a big fan, man. Let's Make a Deal is back, and it's giving the show's losers a second chance. So what's the best part about giving Zorked contestants that second chance? They're probably thinking about it every day after they left that show.
Well, Zonk, you know, what we tried to do with Let's Make a Deal is Zonk, of course, is the bad prize if you pick incorrectly and luck just isn't on your side. But being able to give someone a chance at redemption, to say this is the decision that you made that wasn't a good one, and here's another shot to take home some money. How often do you get a second chance to redo something like that? So that's just fun. And if someone can win and take something home, it just makes me happy.
Absolutely.
I love it. Now, Wayne, we all know that your close friend, Glenn Close, surprised everybody by doing the butt dance at the Oscars. Yes. But she also, and let's not let this go to the side, she also dropped a new jazz album. Were you surprised that she asked you to join her on that project? That's really cool.
No, I think I was more surprised because I've known Glenn a few years now, and the thing that surprised me is years ago when she approached me and she saw me do Kinky Boots for the first time, and I've always looked up to her as an actor, and the fact that someone like her likes my work, that's the thing that always hit me, and I was surprised at the depth of her love and humanity. So when she started doing this project with Ted called Transformations, that didn't surprise me. I was nervous because to share the stage with Glenn Close, and I did, I think, 3 numbers, 3 spoken word numbers. That is one of the highlights of my life, man.
Wow.
So I'm not surprised by her. I'm surprised by what an amazing person she is.
So, Wayne, I understand that working with Glenn also inspired you to write your spoken word piece, The Angriest Black Man in America. Now, most people know you for being funny, not, quote, angry, but unveiling just a little bit, you have been the subject teetering the line of what blackness means since you first came on to our screens. And I really want to know if you would share a little bit about it and also explain why was it a challenge for you to finish, because I know this is a big topic.
Oh, thank you. Well, the piece actually existed before Glenn asked me to. And to your point, I kind of look at my career like that story of the blind men and the elephant. Each person feels a different part of the elephant, and that's the piece that they like. And I made peace with that a long time ago, that some people go, oh, you're funny and you do this. I know that I've done tons of roles that are not funny. I feel that an actor should act and you should be allowed to be everything that you are. If that's the thing that you like, that's great. That's made me a lot of money. I'm not going to fight it. But as for me as an artist, I know what I bring to the table. So when I write a piece like this, it's not like I'm writing it to, I'm gonna flip the paradigm. No, I'm sharing this. And especially in this day and age, we've gone through, the racial tumult. I felt that sharing my story as part of Glenn's transformation piece and labeling it The Angriest Black Man in America, it was a tongue-in-cheek title, but it's also very apt. Because people choose to look at someone like myself a certain way and go, oh, you make me smile and I like it when you're shiny and happy. Just because I make you feel comfortable that way doesn't mean that there's not a lot going on within me. And I was able to share that in the poem about how being Black is not a monolithic thing. It's not just what you perceive or this person perceives. It's so many things. And that's part of the Black experience, in my opinion, that you should be allowed to be the entire spectrum. And in this piece, I talk about self-forgiveness at a young age, being angry about being called certain names, being angry about being looked at as, oh, if someone calls you a good one, what the hell does that mean? To learning to accept yourself. And it centers around this incident that happened in my front yard where a girl basically told me that I was ugly for being Black. Wow. And I was forgiving myself for years of being angry at myself that I didn't even know that I was angry about. So it's a lot to unpack. And I feel that it's my job to be able to show all sides.
Wow. You walk the walk, Wayne, that's for sure. Multifaceted, you do it all. And thank you for sharing that personal anecdote with us all. It's pretty impressive. Okay, so DBL Nation, you can see Wayne live at the Blue Note in Hawaii from June 18th to June 20th. Visit BlueNoteHawaii.com for more information. We appreciate you, Wayne.
Thanks, Wayne.
We'll be right back.
Thank you, brother.
Thanks, y'all.
Appreciate you.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by
Local leaders and businesses are getting creative to try and convince people to get the COVID-19 shot. But do vaccine incentives really work? Let's connect the dots. It depends on how hesitant people are in the first place. The more hesitant someone is, the less likely an incentive will work. According to a recent poll, men were more likely than women to get the shot for a prize. The survey also found millennials were the age group most likely to be motivated by freebies. Cash is king. A study earlier this year found that 2/3 of adults say money is what's most likely to motivate them to get the vaccine. But some experts say incentives could backfire. Psychologists say offering cash for something makes people think there's a risk associated with it, which is not the case with the COVID shot. And that is connecting the dots.
This is for Jeff Schroeder from your co-workers at Daily Blast Live. Well, you've been around the sun another time, Jeff. That means you're a year older. One time around the sun is a year. Well, you want to be me for a day. Whoa. What you have to do is get up at 5:35 a.m. Get dressed, stretch out, brush your teeth, wash your face, and everything else you do by instinct. No plans. The best way to make plans is don't make them. Just be natural with it, your natural purpose of living. Now, we were both on Big Brother. I'm in London and you're in LA. Okay.
to DBL. We've got some crazy video out of France. The French president was slapped across the face today by a man in a crowd he was greeting. I know. The man apparently yelled, "Down with Macron," before slapping him. So 2 men have been arrested. But what do you think of this happening to a president? Now, if you recall, we did have that one incident with George Bush, right? I think we may even have the video, if you guys don't remember, with the shoe. I mean, it's scary to think that this can happen to these world leaders, but it does happen.
Yeah, at that point, though, I think Secret Service takes a step back and let them handle their own business. Because if somebody slaps me, I'm going to slap them back, okay?
Right.
I got no doubt you could take that guy either, because that was kind of like a weak slap.
Yeah,
Like a good one.
Yeah, well, he pulled him in and smacked him. So, I mean, he was waiting on that. Yeah, he grabs his forearm and then hits him. I mean,
that was like an olive oil slap.
But you know that you're going to be taken away by Secret Service.
I mean, I don't think it's the same way as when people streak on the soccer or football field. People do that. So it's for attention or make a point. He made his point.
Interesting. If you're leaving us, you can watch the second half of the show on Facebook or YouTube. But if you're sticking around, here's what's coming up. Kandi Burruss has revealed in the past she's made people sign non-disclosure agreements before sex. So would you sign one before sleeping with a celeb? Plus, Chris Harrison is out at Bachelor Nation. We've got the new details, and a big thank you to our co-workers watching from home right now. DBL's new every day. We'll be right back.
This is Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about. Real, honest, entertaining, live. DBL starts right now.
3, 2. Welcome to DBL. I'm Sam here with Jeff, Allen, Erica. Let's get started. So as we talked about earlier, big news in Bachelor Nation. Longtime host Chris Harrison is ending his relationship with Bachelor Nation. So back in February, Chris announced he was stepping aside as host after he came under fire for defending a contestant who attended an Old South party on a plantation when she was in college. According to Deadline, Chris's final rose is coming in the form of an 8-figure payout. Wow. Chris posted this on Instagram saying he's had an incredible run as host and that he's grateful to Bachelor Nation for all the memories. So this comes just hours after the new season of The Bachelorette premiered, with Tayshia Adams and Caitlin Bristow taking over as hosts. As we mentioned, David Spade is reported to be one of the celebrity guest hosts filling in on Bachelor in Paradise later this summer.
Wow. Are you surprised, Erica, about Chris Harrison fully being canceled now? Yes, he got this 8-figure payout, but I'm sure he would still want to do what he loves because he's always spoken about how he loves hosting that show.
I'm not surprised at all, but I think that everyone keeps talking about it was the controversy. I think that it was kind of the controversy along with his time had ended anyway. I know that he was a part of the franchise and obviously built the franchise, but CEOs get let go all the time, and then he got his parachute package on his way out. So I really don't see there being a problem with this. I think this happens to people in that position every day. See, it just shouldn't, for him, I'm sure he didn't want it to happen like that.
Yeah, I don't agree with that. Just for the fact, like Alex Trebek went all the way to the end. And if you look at CBS, you got Julie Chen, you have Jeff Probst, you have Phil Kogan. Those guys are the faces of Big Brother, Amazing Race, Survivor. When you take someone out of that, you change the dynamic of the show a little bit. When we talk about Ellie Kemper or we talk about Chris Harrison, I don't care if you're 19 or you're 65, you should be able to learn at any age that what I did was wrong and I need to grow from this. To be cut completely out of the picture and lose your livelihood and kind of what you live for and stand for because of one mistake that you made, and instead of educating and learning and showing the world what you've done, you get cut out. But we give people a pass at a younger age because their brain isn't fully developed. I'm going to make mistakes till I'm dead. And so is everybody in this room, and so is everybody at home. To not be able to recover from that, I don't agree with. That's the part of cancel culture I don't agree with.
You know what the difference is, and you say it all the time on the show, you want to be better. You want to be a better person, a better father. Chris Harrison doubled down on Access Hollywood. When he was given the opportunity to say to Rachel Lindsay, I made a mistake, he doubled down. And I think that's where Bachelor Nation and a lot of people drew the line in the sand, in my opinion. Do you disagree?
No, I agree. I think it was that interview, and then you could tell how contentious his interview with Michael Strahan was after that. Because, Jeff, I do agree. I think there is always space for a redemption story. I mean, look at Charlie Sheen. You know, he came back from the brinks of tiger blood or whatever he was doing. So America always does leave you a lane to come back, but when you do double down that second time, especially when there hasn't been any space, I think that's where you're going to start to see the pushback, and then a corporation's going to make a decision that a corporation makes. Like, this is not good for the bottom line.
Let's not act like the corporation who made the decision is high and mighty, because they've been not hiring black people since the show began, and now they're firing one because of what happened.
Well, and also,
they're saving their own butts, is what they're doing.
He wasn't cut out.
Appreciate that.
He was parachuted out. Right. And those are two completely different things.
Wow. All right. So here's a question for you. Would you sign an NDA or a contract that says you won't talk about it in order to sleep with a celebrity?
I'm going to sign something right now.
Who's the celebrity?
His wife.
You'll never know.
According to BuzzFeed News, more and more stars like Charlie Sheen, whose NDA was leaked to the media in 2015, are making their one-night stand sign a contract saying they won't spill the tea afterwards. So Stormy Daniels said she signed an NDA and was paid $130,000 in exchange for her silence over an alleged affair with Donald Trump. Also, Kandi Burruss from The Real Housewives of Atlanta said on the show that she requires NDAs before getting involved with threesomes. What do we think about people doing this? Is it smart to protect themselves?
I have friends that have been doing this since day one, so this is not new to me. But I'll just say this: it just seems like, especially like with the Stormy Daniels thing, she still spoke on it. So I don't understand. Is there a punitive damages? Like what can you do to somebody that has broken an NDA? Because it doesn't seem like there's a lot of payback for that.
It doesn't seem ironclad.
Right. I don't get it.
Well, I think the Stormy Daniels example was very different because there were so many other things happening. But ultimately, there can be damages. I just think that she wasn't the priority, and that might have been. But I think they asked or tried to get the money back. I'm going to say this. If you ever receive an NDA, then just know this is like never dating anonymous, okay? That means that you are a one night, or if you're really great, maybe 2 or 3 night stand, okay? That means that you can, if that was on your bucket list and that's all, that was your hall pass, that was whatever it was, then you make sure that you get your experience out of that night, because that person is going to act like they never ever knew you, and you're going to come across as super crazy.
I think a lot of people are okay with that.
If you're okay and that's enough for you, then that's enough for you. But just know that that's what it is. You're not even being considered.
But why are we going to stop at sex? Why not like dinner parties? Like, you come over to my house, NDA. You don't talk about it. That's all. See you later.
Wait, what?
Yeah, don't come over. You're signing something. If it gets a little aggressive at dinner, I like to eat a lot and get aggressive.
I guarantee you certain celebrities like Justin Bieber, if he's having a get-together, I would imagine he would want to protect himself and do NDAs. Why not?
I don't find it crazy.
You don't have to worry about that, but...
I was talking to a friend of mine about this on his podcast just really quickly. He just said that he stopped kind of hanging out with people because he would hang out. He's a guy that liked to go to the bar. He'd talk to people, and then they'd post that, you know, that guy was a jerk, and he'd be like, we talked about baseball for 40 minutes, and we left.
Right.
But now people's kind of social currency is having a story about Erica Cobb, and just saying Erica's nice, that's not going to get likes. We got Erica tried to stab me. Like, that's going to get some traction.
So, yeah.
I doubt it.
I doubt that out there. Okay, so we do love our fans here at DBL, and some viewers even send in gifts, or maybe they're trolling me. So first I got this t-shirt, okay, that says... Man Overboat. If you can see it, I don't know if you can. But it says
like that.
Man Overboat because I mispronounced the name of the movie.
What was the name of the movie?
Overboard.
There we go. With who?
What about Overboat? With Goldie Hawn.
Overboard. Yes. Please remember when you bring up movies from 49 years ago.
Hey, Man Overboat. I guess it's the same term.
It's literally like Overboard.
Listen,
Sorry that I got the title wrong. I love how quick you were. Man Overboat, but I wanted, so Liz Draper, she's one of our viewers, and she says that she was laid off due to COVID-19 and had a lot of newfound free time, so she started this company, Liz Draper, and she made this shirt and a bunch of us journals. Isn't that cool?
Oh,
nice.
I know. Okay, so this next one, I definitely know I was being trolled. A viewer was inspired to send me something after I attempted to sing a Russian song from my childhood. Watch. I still remember one song in Russian.
No, you don't.
Yeah.
Well, now we got something for the end.
It's true. It's true. I was a peace child and I'm proud. Erica's reaction is priceless. What were you thinking?
I was just looking at my upholstery.
Sure.
I was.
Do you want to know what the viewer wrote? The viewer said, Sam, I couldn't resist. I actually got a set as a child. You have a voice of an angel, LOL. I rewatched this a few times. Keep up the great work, guys. The funny thing about this is, so Sophie's birthday is tomorrow, and she was begging me for an early birthday gift. So I gave, that's why the top's missing. I gave it to Sophie yesterday. I go, here's an early birthday gift.
You gave her the top of a Russian nesting doll?
No, I gave her the whole thing. I don't know where the top is. But you know what she said? No, thank you, Mom.
Oh.
You didn't like it.
My grandmother brought these back from Russia, so if you keep opening them, they just get smaller and smaller and smaller. The viewer doesn't know. You didn't explain that.
People know what these are.
I don't think so.
People understand that they get smaller and smaller and smaller.
I bet you 50%. Half of America doesn't even know our vice president. You think they're going to know that?
And why are you taking it apart that angrily? Like, it's supposed to be a toy. You seem kind of upset with it.
I'm not upset with it.
You're having no joy taking it apart, Sam. How is Sophie supposed to attach herself?
Sophie didn't want it.
Yeah, you gotta put them back together as you take them out. They can't just be the heads.
Okay, enough. Let's get to the next story. But thank you. I want to thank Binta. Binta, thank you. B-I-N-T-A. Appreciate you.
I appreciate mine too, Binta.
Well, they were making fun of me, not you, so you're good.
I still want some Russian nesting dolls. Come on.
You can have one of these.
Well, no, I can't just take one.
You can take the baby one.
It's not a Russian nesting doll. It's just a weird...
Here, you can have the baby one. Okay. All right. So a couple in stop it, Al. A couple
according to plan.
A couple in Wisconsin found a creative way to show their pride. So a man and his husband were ordered to take down their rainbow pride flag, similar to this one, from their home. Their neighborhood association rules say homes can only display the official U.S. flag. Not even sports teams' flags are permitted, so the men decided to flood their house with lights representing the colors of the rainbow instead. The photo of the house that was originally posted on Reddit has now gone viral. That is creative.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's kind of part of it when you do sign up for an HOA, and that's why people are trying to avoid that. I don't know if you guys deal with that, but I don't want somebody telling me if I can hang a flag outside. Is the state flag okay? Like, what is this? Why are you wasting your time with this?
Because they want the neighborhood to look cohesive, but it's ridiculous. Like, it took us months to get approval on the color of our house, to paint our house. and there's vines that are apparently not to code. So now we have to remove vines.
I feel like this should be in an email, not on TV.
It's HOA people are like 10 people get together that have nothing to do.
They walk the neighborhood.
And that's what they do. Yeah,
Yep.
they're like, your bush is kind of dying. You need a new one.
Really?
On top of the check that I'm sending you? Okay.
Now, do you understand why I love when Mark plants a bush and keeps it nice and pruned? Okay.
He does not approve.
Okay. Good luck with y'all's HOAs. That's exactly why we didn't move into a neighborhood with an HOA, because I would not have the patience.
Erica Cobb, you have people dropping off squirrels in front of your...
Okay, but we live in the city. We live in an actual neighborhood, not Wisteria Lane.
You do have some more interesting videos than we have.
Yeah, it keeps it interesting. I'm a city girl.
Coming up on DBL, we are talking with actress Yolanda Ross from Showtime's The Chi. And a lot of our coworkers are still at home, but we're slowly and safely bringing them back into the studio. We cannot wait to see you all.
Closed captioning provided by
It feels like we've been talking about space tourism for decades, but it could finally be launching into reality. Let's connect the dots. In April of 2001, wealthy businessman Dennis Tito paid $20 million for a seat on a Russian Soyuz. It was pricey for a short trip, and since then, only 7 people have followed suit. According to reports, NASA's always been hesitant to allow tourists to travel with astronauts. It was really only the Russians, looking to cover costs, that were willing to let tourists on board. But now, with the rise of private companies, options to travel into space are popping up left and right. Blue Origin is planning a suborbital flight on July 20th. While Jeff Bezos and his brother will be on board, there'll also be a winner of an online auction. And in September, SpaceX is launching 4 civilian astronauts into space on board the Crew Dragon capsule. Despite these promising steps, it hasn't been smooth sailing. Virgin Galactic is the other big private player when it comes to space tourism. A pilot was killed in a crash in 2014, and engineers were forced to make changes. Now it says it won't launch tourists until 2022. Then there's the price. Depending on the trip, tickets range from $55 million to $200,000, keeping the stars out of reach for most of us.
Welcome back to DBL. Showtime's hit series, The Chi, mirrors the drama many Americans face. And one of the show's breakout stars, my girl, Yolanda Ross, spoke with me earlier about season 4 and more. That's today's Chatting with the Stars. Yolanda, sis, welcome to DBL.
I'm happy to be here, Erica. We've been watching you.
Girl, I am so excited. I mean, we have so many connections. You are my Instagram friend. And you know, I know all about The Chi. Of course, I'm from Chicago, so the show really hits close to home. But first, let me shout out your parents, because I know that your parents are a part of the DBL Nation, and we love them.
You know they're watching right now, so.
I love it.
Now I'm going to hear all about it, so I'm just trying to make sure everything is right.
Everything will be perfect, and we appreciate them watching. So let's talk about you, because your story is so amazing. Now, you started acting, and your first gig was on SNL. So explain how you, quote, stumbled into that opportunity.
This store that I worked for in Soho called Nana, one of my employees, her name is Kelly, she used to do background work for SNL. So one weekend she was sick and I was just like, well, this is New York, you know, any amount of money you can get, you go for it. And I was like, so could I just fill in for you? You know, I'm a body, they can use me. And they did use me. So SNL, they hired me that weekend and they kept hiring me. So I ended up getting my union card and then an agent. And so, you know, in the late 90s, you could see me in the background of, like, say, Night at Roxbury. There were so many characters because I was there every weekend. So it was just a lot of fun. I made a couple extra $100 each week. Got to see the musical guests and, you know, got my union card.
That is amazing, but it also is a testament to what happens when you hustle. So everybody out there, you remember that, okay? Now, before you landed a lead role on The Chi, you just mentioned you also stole scenes in other major projects like New York Undercover, Antoine Fisher, and How to Get Away with Murder, which, oh my gosh, is like one of my all-time faves. Do you have any like funny or quirky stories about any of those stars?
There is a little one with Denzel when we were doing Antoine Fisher. That was like my second big thing that I had done. You know, they colored my hair at the time and he was giving his approval and he was just like looking. Then he just went, you know, and he was just like, I just had to like mess with your hair.
Oh.
So people like that girl's hair. What can I
like Denzel touched your hair?
Like, mess with it. Go ahead. I'm not stopping you.
Yeah, I know. He might be the only one who gets an exception to touch your hair.
Anybody else is death stare, like, don't even.
Exactly. Well, your character, Jada, in The Chi is a single mom, and this season she's an empty nester battling cancers.
I know if anything happened, he wouldn't be able to handle it.
You're not giving him enough credit.
I know my child.
How does this reflect current issues within our healthcare system?
Well, you know the disparities are there. You know they're there. With this subject, I went in and I started working with a lot of organizations here in Chicago that deal with healthcare disparities. We can be doing everything we are supposed to, but we are not getting the care we are supposed to. It's not the same level of care. And, you know, and Jada goes through this on the show as well.
I love what you guys are doing. I've been a day oneer because I remember when Ty got booked on the show, y'all debuted about the same time that we debuted. And I've just been cheering like for you guys the whole time. Yolanda Ross, I look forward to seeing so much more of you. Listen, follow another member of DBL Nation by watching season 4 of The Chi on Showtime. We'll be right back.
Thanks, Erica.
Times a day, you may get that insufferable call that has
This message is from the Social Security
or on the other end, and you've probably wondered, why can't we stop robocalls?
The US is somewhere close to 5 billion robocalls every month.
It's just certainly important to not pick up the phone unless you absolutely know who's calling.
Our sources are Alex Kalichi, CEO of Umail, a company that specializes in blocking robocalls, and Amy Knopfziger, Director of Fraud Victim Support for AARP.
Think of robocalls as like banner ads. They're really cheap, they're really easy to do, and enough people click on them or answer the call and respond that they're worth doing.
For something so easy to make, our experts say they're difficult to stop, especially when they come from spoofed phone numbers.
It's like a game of whack-a-mole. You take one down and another one pops up.
To start, law enforcement officials are limited by their jurisdictions.
So a lot of the call centers are actually overseas, but the biggest problem is it's hard to tell the good robocallers from the bad.
And that's the other point. States and the federal government can't just stop all robocalls. A large section of robocalls are actually helpful. They're used for prescriptions or for doctor's appointments. So in the meantime, companies like Umail have designed apps to weed out the bad ones. And our experts say the federal government recently passed laws to help cell phone providers do the same.
Because it's actually going to allow and empower these telecommunication companies to verify and authenticate the phone number that is showing up on your caller ID.
Welcome back to DBL. When it comes to your home, design trends can go in and out of style pretty quickly. According to an HGTV host, certain trends can actually tank your home's value. We're chatting about it in today's Bang for Your Buck, presented by The Hartford. So first, don't go overboard with do-it-yourself projects. DIY stuff are usually too personal, and potential home buyers may not appreciate your unique sense of style. Second, excessive tiling. It's a new and popular trend, but it can make the room feel smaller and busy. And last, avoid painting your walls gray. The color doesn't photograph well, which is important when reselling your home. So when it comes to your home, we've made it easy for quality and affordable home insurance. The Buck's got your back, and The Hartford will be happy to provide you solutions. So call The Hartford at 1-800-684-6085 or visit thehartford.com to learn more. You are Mr. DIY.
I might be overboard, and I have a gray wall.
You DIY things that I think DIY. Of course. You DIY things that people want. A mudroom.
Yeah, but I would take things down. Like if I move, we do it to make ourselves happy. So I think do what makes you happy. You know what I mean? I'm not going to be like, in 20 years, I don't think some guy's going to come in here and like this.
Yeah, but you're not like putting in like a random elephant sculpture. You're putting in a mudroom. Who doesn't love a mudroom?
I have a fountain we're putting in our living room.
No, you're not.
Your mudroom is adding value for sure.
Very
but
much so.
I only do things that I can remove from the home that are like uniquely mine. Everything else that's attached to the house is more like anybody, because who knows where you're going to move.
How's the pool coming along?
I don't know what you're talking about.
I want a pool.
I'm excited. We'll be right back.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by
Local leaders and businesses are getting creative to try and convince people to get the COVID-19 shot. But do vaccine incentives really work? Let's connect the dots. It depends on how hesitant people are in the first place. The more hesitant someone is, the less likely an incentive will work. According to a recent poll, men were more likely than women to get the shot for a prize. The survey also found millennials were the age group most likely to be motivated by freebies. Cash is king. A study earlier this year found that 2/3 of adults say money is what's most likely to motivate them to get the vaccine. But some experts say incentives could backfire. Psychologists say offering cash for something makes people think there's a risk associated with it, which is not the case with the COVID shot. And that is connecting the dots.
This is for Jeff Schroeder from your co-workers at Daily Blast Live. Well, you've been around the sun another time, Jeff. That means you're a year older. One time around the sun is a year. Well, you want to be me for a day. Whoa. What you have to do is get up at 5:35 a.m. Get dressed, stretch out, brush your teeth, wash your face, and everything else you do by instinct. No plans. The best way to make plans is don't make them. Just be natural with it. Your natural purpose of living. Now, we were both on Big Brother. I'm in London and you're in LA. Okay.
on DBL. Inside the mind of the infamous Casey Anthony. Her former cellmate is speaking to DBL.
Did you ever point blank ask her, did you kill your daughter?
You know,
Don't miss this all-new True Crime Chronicles tomorrow only on DBL.
Welcome back to DBL. Erica, you got some comments?
Yes, Christopher on Facebook said, glad you guys are back together. You break up the afternoon great show. I never miss it. And Sam, I'm going to give you an opportunity to respond to this.
Yes.
Jennifer on Facebook says, was Sam making fun of a gift she received from a viewer? If so, how rude?
Jennifer, that would have been rude, but the viewer wrote me a really silly tongue-in-cheek letter saying that she couldn't resist and that I have a voice of an angel, LOL. So I was responding knowing that the viewer came in with a tongue-in-cheek message with the Russian doll. I was trying to be tongue-in-cheek back. So no, I appreciate the gift. I was just trying to banter back with her original message. And I love this. Are you kidding me? Because I do misspeak.
Are you going to wear that at your 4th of July party? You just tell everybody you agreed to have a party, just so it's on record?
I'm going to have a party with a big pool, like an inflatable pool.
Okay. I didn't know if we were going to set up a job after you finished that.
Okay. DBL's new every day. We'll see you tomorrow, same time, same place. Bye, guys.
What we're talking about today on Daily Blast Live.
Chris Harrison leaves the Bachelor franchise for good. Plus, actress Ellie Kemper apologizes for her past involvement in a pageant with racist ties. Is cancel culture getting out of control? Another shocking revelation in the Gates divorce saga. Did Melinda really hire a private investigator to spy on Bill? Plus, Wayne Brady is here live, and Yolanda Ross from The Chi tells us all about working with Denzel Washington.
Denzel touched your hair?
Like, mess with it.
Real, honest, entertaining, live. DBL starts right now.
3, 2.
Little delayed there, David.
Right.
Just kidding. kidding. Welcome to DBL. It's Tuesday, June 8th. I'm Sam here with Jeff, Al, and Erica. I love this. Welcome back, Al. We missed you.
Thank you. Good to be back. I'm a little shiny because I'm straight from the airport, so I'm a little sweaty.
Landed, from the airport.
Took a shower and came here. I took a shower because of you guys.
Wow.
I love y'all.
Well, thank you.
But yeah, it was worth it. I mean, South Carolina was amazing. Woke up there this morning, and now at noon I'm with my best friend, so life is good.
Oh, we love you, Al.
Hey, Al, doesn't this feel good?
This is it's like surreal, yes, because I haven't seen this all together, so let's do a show.
And this close, right?
I love it.
All right, well, let's get to it because cancel culture is a topic we have on the show quite a bit,
yes.
right? Well, we got some more for you. We have a question. When does cancel culture go too far? And should people be held accountable for past actions or associations? That's the big conversation today because there are a couple of stories about people being canceled. So just this morning, it's been reported that Chris Harrison is officially breaking up with Bachelor Nation. We're going to talk all about this a little later in the show, so stay tuned for that story. But right now, let's talk about actress Ellie Kemper. You might know her, of course, from The Office or Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt. Ellie is now apologizing after this picture of her went viral, showing her as the winner of a debutante ball when she was just 19 years old. So Ellie posted this on Instagram saying, quote, "The century-old organization that hosted the debutante ball had an unquestionably racist, sexist, and elitist past. I was not aware of this history at the time, but ignorance is no excuse. I want to apologize to the people I've disappointed, and I promise that moving forward, I will listen, continue to educate myself, and use my privilege in support of the better society I think we're capable of becoming." So what do you think about Chris leaving Bachelor Nation, and did Ellie need to apologize? Are these cases of cancel culture going too far, in your opinion, Jeff?
So we're going to talk about Chris later.
Let's talk about Chris later.
Okay,
let's
just focus on Ellie.
On Ellie.
Okay, so I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. Did these pictures leak and then she had to apologize, or did she try to get ahead of it first? Because I don't understand the organization. I don't know the racist, sexist, misogynistic part of this story.
But you don't know about the organization.
I don't know about the organization, right? So what is the organization? What are we?
She's talking about the organization that sponsored this pageant, basically. And it's very interesting that this is happening on the same day that Chris Harrison is officially stepping down from The Bachelor, Bachelorette, and I know we'll talk about that later, but you look at that in comparison to the response from Rachel Corcano, who was the selected Bachelorette from last season. You know, she very much doubled down, and not necessarily publicly, but it was very telling by the reaction that Matt, the Bachelor, had to her lack of even wanting to understand why this was antiquated, racist, and misogynistic, and all the other things. So the fact that she's coming forward, that's really what you have to do. If you feel like you've done something, and we've all done things in our past, it's just a matter of time for some of us, but we've all done things, and if you really feel like you've changed and you've evolved, then you say, hey, listen, I am not the version of that person. I understand why these things are wrong, and I am going to make sure that other people understand from this point forward. I am sorry.
So given that she's done that, do you feel,
I'm still a little confused. Okay. I want to go back because now what you're saying is if I played Little League Baseball and the president was racist, I have to go back and figure that out in some sort of way?
I think this is a little different than that. You're talking about an institution that started and rooted in racism, oppression, and degradation. So she's saying that she didn't understand all of those elements of the history at the time, but now that she understands it, she's apologizing because she wants other people to understand. These are organizations that are very much inbred into societies and cultures. And if she's someone who people look at as an example, then it is her responsibility, if that's how she feels, to come forward and say this was wrong and this is why.
Here's my thing. I don't mean to keep doing this, but if you're brought up in a certain part of the country or a certain area, those things are going to be ingrained in the culture. You can't control that as a little child. And if you're part of a pageant, and then you're in that not realizing that at 19 years old, why would you have to apologize for that?
Well, I think as a pageant or someone who is actually has won a pageant, then you're also promoting a platform. So you're not just a participant, you're also very much an ambassador. So when you're coming forward and saying, you know, this isn't my ideology and I did not understand, it is important in that situation. We're not talking about like things that are ingrained in most institutions, to be quite honest, because there's sexism, misogyny, and racism all over the place.
I'll say this, because I see where both you guys are coming from, but I think we need to remember that when you apologize for anything, a lot of people say, remember we talked about recipes and like changing Auntie's recipe a little bit to make it more healthy? What you're saying is I want you to live longer, but what she's hearing is there's something wrong with this recipe that's been in our family for this long. And that's a lot about what we're hearing now. When somebody feels like you need to apologize for being in this play, for dressing the way the people in the pictures of my family look like when I look, that's where I think we're getting the pushback. I don't think they necessarily care about the play. I don't think they care about the pageant at all. What they're saying is, why is who I identify with something I need to apologize for? And I think once we can have that conversation, just like we can have that conversation with Auntie about why we need to use, you know, we can't use lard anymore. We need to switch it on up to something else. I think we can move forward. But when people feel attacked, they're not going to move.
I agree with that. I totally agree with that.
You just have a problem with like a teenager who's in a household who's just following.
I don't have a problem with it. That's not the right way to say that.
That's not the right way. I'm trying to take your side.
Absolutely. But
yes.
we have to be very careful about this and the words that we use.
No, you're right. I think where you're coming from, and this is where I wrestle with, even though I agree with both of you, because as an adult, if you're 19 years old, you can fight for your country. You should know better. However, there are caveats to your point where if you're a teenager, you're growing up in this bubble, right? And then essentially, it's your parents' responsibility to educate you, or your school system, which we all know is whitewashed, right? A lot of these textbooks do not paint the picture. They probably don't even tell you what the history of debutante balls are and how they're rooted in white supremacy. So I agree with you. At 19 years old, is it more her parents' responsibility, the school's responsibility, her responsibility, and should she have to apologize? But now that she knows that it was rooted in white supremacy, as an adult, can she look back and say, oh, this makes me cringe. I'm so sorry. I wish I would have known more. And I think both can be true.
I think that's exactly true.
It's also important that she took the responsibility.
Yes.
My first thought was, that wasn't her.
Right.
Like, that was likely where she grew up. That was likely her
product of her
parents.
environment, yes.
But she decided not to bring that up. It's almost like you make a mistake and you happen to be drinking. You're like, I was drunk. Well, no, just own up to the mistake. It's a mistake.
Such an important conversation.
Yes.
I'm so glad that we were able to like fully hash it out, because I know a lot of you are just quick to say cancel her or don't cancel her when there's a lot of nuance. We'll be right back.
Closed captioning provided by
It feels like we've been talking about space tourism for decades, but it could finally be launching into reality. Let's connect the dots. In April of 2001, wealthy businessman Dennis Tito paid $20 million for a seat on a Russian Soyuz. It was pricey for a short trip, and since then, only 7 people have followed suit. According to reports, NASA's always been hesitant to allow tourists to travel with astronauts. It was really only the Russians, looking to cover costs, that were willing to let tourists on board. But now, with the rise of private companies, options to travel into space are popping up left and right. Blue Origin is planning a suborbital flight on July 20th. While Jeff Bezos and his brother will be on board, there'll also be a winner of an online auction. And in September, SpaceX is launching 4 civilian astronauts into space on board the Crew Dragon capsule. Despite these promising steps, it hasn't been smooth sailing. Virgin Galactic is the other big private player when it comes to space tourism. A pilot was killed in a crash in 2014, and engineers were forced to make changes. Now it says it won't launch tourists until 2022. Then there's the price. Depending on the trip, tickets range from $55 million to $200,000, keeping the stars out of reach for most of us.
Welcome back to DBL. If you thought your partner was cheating or up to something, how far would you go to find out? Would you hire a private investigator? Well, Vanity Fair is out with new details about Bill and Melinda Gates' divorce. And in the article, they say Bill would change cars to go meet with women. Say what? They also claim someone from Melinda's team hired a private investigator to dig up dirt on the billionaire. Now Melinda's team denies this, saying Melinda never hired API. But the question is, would you hire a private investigator to spy on your partner? Yes or no? DBL Nation, what do you think? Go to dblvote.com to weigh in. Let's not get in the weeds as far as because we know that certain people might do it for divorce purposes or custody, whatever it may be. Let's just boil it down to brass tacks. If you suspected your partner,
listen, I think Erica Cobb probably has the best answer. If you want to boil it down, I don't know why, because Erica just has good advice and she'll break it down.
No, I would not hire a private investigator if I suspected.
Because why though? Because I know what you're going to say. If you know, you know, right?
Right. I would feel like if I was that rooted in the belief that my husband was being unfaithful to me,
then no trust.
Right, there's something else going on. There's a whole lot going on. So no, am I going to spend my good money to go and figure it out? No, because eventually everything that's done in the dark comes to the light.
I would say
I was waiting for a bumper sticker.
I would say that Erica is more intuitive than most people, including me. And so you might not know. And do you want to risk that oh, I just know? And then you're like, what if they were planning a surprise party? You told me that Jordan said you were acting weird the morning that you were going to ask her to marry her. And she thought you were cheating. So what if she had hired a PI or broken up with you? It's like you do kind of want to know if it's somebody you've invested the last couple years of your life with. So, I mean, wouldn't you rather just be wrong and have a funny story at dinner?
That's not funny.
I don't know.
How is that funny?
Let me tell you about the time I've hired a private investigator, but Jeff was about to marry me. That's a cute story.
Now, I will have to be honest that a lot of me would want to hire a PI, and I would want to do my own PI. I'd want to peruse Facebook, the phone. I've never had to do that with Mark, and I never foresee having to do that because we do have trust. But I know a part of me would want to be my own PI.
Yeah, I think there's something we don't admit to. I think people kind of want that. I think people kind of want to dig a little bit.
Sam wants to paint her face and sneak around.
Yeah.
Don't say paint my face.
What do you mean?
Late at night?
What do you mean paint
like a
my
robber.
face? What? Robbers paint their faces?
Like camouflage, like you're in the bushes. What do you think I meant? Like something dirty?
No, but...
What kind of weird stuff do you guys do?
I think that's a wrap. Was that producer? Yeah, I think that's a wrap.
Would you hire a private investigator? 53% of you say yes. Okay. Coming up on DBL, Wayne Brady is here.
I hope he's listening.
Are we sure he's still here?
Oh my God.
Brady's here live from Let's Make a Deal to collaborating with actress Glenn Close. We're going to talk all about it next.
Times a day, you may get that insufferable call that has
This message is from the Social Security
or on the other end, and you've probably wondered, why can't we stop robocalls?
The U.S. is somewhere close to 5 billion robocalls every month.
It's just certainly important to not pick up the phone unless you absolutely know who's calling.
Our sources are Alex Kalichi, CEO of Umail, a company that specializes in blocking robocalls, and Amy Knopfziger, Director of Fraud Victim Support for AARP.
Think of robocalls as like banner ads. They're really cheap, they're really easy to do, and enough people click on them or answer the call and respond that they're worth doing.
For something so easy to make, our experts say they're difficult to stop, especially when they come from spoofed phone numbers.
It's like a game of whack-a-mole. You take one down and another one pops up.
To start, law enforcement officials are limited by their jurisdictions.
So a lot of the call centers are actually overseas, but the biggest problem is it's hard to tell the good robocallers from the bad.
And that's the other point. States and the federal government can't just stop all robocalls. A large section of robocalls are actually helpful. They're used for prescriptions or for doctor's appointments. So in the meantime, companies like Umail have designed apps to weed out the bad ones. And our experts say the federal government recently passed laws to help cell phone providers do the same.
Because it's actually going to allow and empower these telecommunication companies to verify and authenticate the phone number that is showing up on your caller ID.
Welcome back to DBL. With 5 Emmys and a Grammy nod, Wayne Brady has made a name for himself as a comedian, actor, and TV host. But now the funny man is showing another side of himself, and he's joining us live. Wayne, welcome to DBL. Look at that heart on the shirt. I like it.
Hey there. Thank you.
So you're currently nominated for an Emmy for Outstanding Game Show Host. Now, Alex Trebek joins you in that category. Many fans would love to see the late Jeopardy host win, including yourself. But who do you think should replace him on Jeopardy?
I really don't have a thought on it. I mean, whoever is the best person for it. Jeopardy is an institution. It's there are people who could do the job. No one is ever going to be Alex Trebek, and people like what they like. I think it all matters on. It could be anyone from Anderson Cooper to LeVar Burton, who I think would be an amazing choice. There are people lined up who each could do a great job in their own right. It all depends on what people want to see. Personally, I love someone like LeVar, and I love what he brings to the table. Let's see what happens.
Wayne, I'm a big fan, man. Let's Make a Deal is back, and it's giving the show's losers a second chance. So what's the best part about giving Zork contestants that second chance? They're probably thinking about it every day after they left that show.
Well, Zonk, you know, what we tried to do with Let's Make a Deal is the Zonk, of course, is the bad prize if you pick incorrectly and luck just isn't on your side. But being able to give someone a chance at redemption, to say this is the decision that you made that wasn't a good one, and here's another shot to take home some money. How often do you get a second chance to redo something like that? So that's just fun. And if someone can win and take something home, it just makes me happy.
Absolutely.
I love it. Now, Wayne, we all know that your close friend, Glenn Close, surprised everybody by doing the butt dance at the Oscars. Yes. But she also, and let's not let this go to the side, she also dropped a new jazz album. Were you surprised that she asked you to join her on that project? That's really cool.
No, I think I was more surprised because I've known Glenn a few years now, and the thing that surprised me is years ago when she approached me and she saw me do Kinky Boots for the first time, and I've always looked up to her as an actor, and the fact that someone like her likes my work, that's the thing that always hit me, and I was surprised at the depth of her love and humanity. So when she started doing this project with Ted called Transformations, that didn't surprise me. I was nervous because to share the stage with Glenn Close, and I did, I think, 3 numbers, 3 spoken word numbers. That is one of the highlights of my life, man.
Wow.
So I'm not surprised by her. I'm surprised by what an amazing person she is.
So, Wayne, I understand that working with Glenn also inspired you to write your spoken word piece, The Angriest Black Man in America. Now, most people know you for being funny, not, quote, angry, but unveiling just a little bit, you have been the subject teetering the line of what blackness means since you first came on to our screens. And I really want to know if you would share a little bit about it and also explain why was it a challenge for you to finish, because I know this is a big topic.
Oh, thank you. Well, the piece actually existed before Glenn asked me to. And to your point, I kind of look at my career like that story of the blind men and the elephant. Each person feels a different part of the elephant, and that's the piece that they like. And I made peace with that a long time ago, that some people go, oh, you're funny and you do this. I know that I've done tons of roles that are not funny. I feel that an actor should act and you should be allowed to be everything that you are. If that's the thing that you like, that's great. That's made me a lot of money. I'm not going to fight it. But as for me as an artist, I know what I bring to the table. So when I write a piece like this, it's not like I'm writing it to, I'm gonna flip the paradigm. No, I'm sharing this. And especially in this day and age, we've gone through, the racial tumult. I felt that sharing my story as part of Glenn's transformation piece and labeling it The Angriest Black Man in America, it was a tongue-in-cheek the title, but it's also very apt. Because people choose to look at someone like myself a certain way and go, oh, you make me smile and I like it when you're shiny and happy. Just because I make you feel comfortable that way doesn't mean that there's not a lot going on within me. And I was able to share that in the poem about how being Black is not a monolithic thing. It's not just what you perceive or this person perceives. It's so many things. And that's part of the Black experience, in my opinion, that you should be allowed to be the entire spectrum. And in this piece, I talk about self-forgiveness at a young age, being angry about being called certain names, being angry about being looked at as, oh, if someone calls you a good one, what the hell does that mean? To learning to accept yourself. And it centers around this incident that happened in my front yard where a girl basically told me that I was ugly for being Black. Wow. And I was forgiving myself for years of being angry at myself that I didn't even know that I was angry about. So it's a lot to unpack. And I feel that it's my job to be able to show all sides.
Wow. You walk the walk, Wayne, that's for sure. Multifaceted, you do it all. And thank you for sharing that personal anecdote with us all. It's pretty impressive. Okay, so DBL Nation, you can see Wayne live at the Blue Note in Hawaii from June 18th to June 20th. Visit BlueNoteHawaii.com for more information. We appreciate you, Wayne.
Thanks, Wayne.
We'll be right back.
Thank you, brother.
Thanks, y'all.
Appreciate you.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by
Local leaders and businesses are getting creative to try and convince people to get the COVID-19 shot. But do vaccine incentives really work? Let's connect the dots. It depends on how hesitant people are in the first place. The more hesitant someone is, the less likely an incentive will work. According to a recent poll, men were more likely than women to get the shot for a prize. The survey also found millennials were the age group most likely to be motivated by freebies. Cash is king. A study earlier this year found that 2/3 of adults say money is what's most likely to motivate them to get the vaccine. But some experts say incentives could backfire. Psychologists say offering cash for something makes people think there's a risk associated with it, which is not the case with the COVID shot. And that is connecting the dots.
This is for Jeff Schroeder from your co-workers at Daily Blast Live. Well, you've been around the sun another time, Jeff. That means you're a year older. One time around the sun is a year. Well, you want to be me for a day. Whoa. What you have to do is get up at 5:35 a.m. Get dressed, stretch out, brush your teeth, wash your face, and everything else you do by instinct. No plans. The best way to make plans is don't make them. Just be natural with it, your natural purpose of living. Now, we were both on Big Brother. I'm in London and you're in LA. Okay.
Welcome back to DBL. We've got some crazy video out of France. The French president was slapped across the face today by a man in a crowd he was greeting. I know. The man apparently yelled "down with Macron" before slapping him. So 2 men have been arrested. But what do you think of this happening to a president? Now, if you recall, we did have that one incident with George Bush, right? I think we may even have the video if you guys don't remember with the shoe. I mean, it's scary to think that this can happen to these world leaders, but it does happen.
Yeah, at that point, though, I think Secret Service takes a step back and let them handle their own business. Because if somebody slaps me, I'm going to slap them back, okay?
Right.
I got no doubt you could take that guy either, because that was kind of like a weak slap.
Yeah,
Like, a good one.
Yeah, well, he pulled him in and smacked him. So, I mean, he was waiting on that. Yeah, he grabs his forearm and then hits him. I mean,
that was like an olive oil slap.
But you know that you're going to be taken away by Secret Service.
I mean, I don't think it's the same way as when people streak on the soccer or football field. People do that. So it's for attention or make a point. He made his point.
Interesting. If you're leaving us, you can watch the second half of the show on Facebook or YouTube. But if you're sticking around, here's what's coming up. Kandi Burruss has revealed in the past she's made people sign non-disclosure agreements before sex. So would you sign one before sleeping with a celeb? Plus, Chris Harrison is out at Bachelor Nation. We've got the new details and a big thank you to our co-workers watching from home right now. DBL is new every day. We'll be right back.
This is Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about. Real, honest, entertaining, live. DBL starts right now.
3, 2. Welcome to DBL. I'm Sam here with Jeff, Allen, Erica. Let's get started. So as we talked about earlier, big news in Bachelor Nation. Longtime host Chris Harrison is ending his relationship with Bachelor Nation. So back in February, Chris announced he was stepping aside as host after he came under fire for defending a contestant who attended an Old South party on a plantation when she was in college. According to Deadline, Chris's final rose is coming in the form of an 8-figure payout. Wow. Chris posted this on Instagram saying he's had an incredible run as host and that he's grateful to Bachelor Nation for all the memories. So this comes just hours after the new season of The Bachelorette premiered, with Tayshia Adams and Caitlin Bristow taking over as hosts. As we mentioned, David Spade is reported to be one of the celebrity guest hosts filling in on Bachelor in Paradise later this summer.
Wow. Are you surprised, Erica, about Chris Harrison fully being canceled now? Yes, he got this 8-figure payout, but I'm sure he would still want to do what he loves because he's always spoken about how he loves hosting that show.
I'm not surprised at all, but I think that everyone keeps talking about it was the controversy. I think that it was kind of the controversy along with his time had ended anyway. I know that he was a part of the franchise and obviously built the franchise, but CEOs get let go all the time, and then he got his parachute package on his way out. So I really don't see there being a problem with this. I think this happens to people in that position every day. See, it just shouldn't, for him, I'm sure he didn't want it to happen like that.
Yeah, I don't agree with that. Just for the fact, like Alex Trebek went all the way to the end. And if you look at CBS, you got Julie Chen, you have Jeff Probst, you have Phil Kogan. Those guys are the faces of Big Brother, Amazing Race, Survivor. When you take someone out of that, you change the dynamic of the show a little bit. When we talk about Ellie Kemper or we talk about Chris Harrison, I don't care if you're 19 or you're 65, you should be able to learn at any age that what I did was wrong and I need to grow from this. To be cut completely out of the picture and lose your livelihood and kind of what you live for and stand for because of one mistake that you made, and instead of educating and learning and showing the world what you've done, you get cut out. But we give people a pass at a younger age because their brain isn't fully developed. I'm going to make mistakes till I'm dead. And so is everybody in this room, and so is everybody at home. To not be able to recover from that, I don't agree with. That's the part of cancel culture I don't agree with.
You know what the difference is, and you say it all the time in the show, you want to be better. You want to be a better person, a better father. Chris Harrison doubled down on Access Hollywood. When he was given the opportunity to say to Rachel Lindsay, I made a mistake, he doubled down. And I think that's where Bachelor Nation and a lot of people drew the line in the sand, in my opinion. Do you disagree?
No, I agree. I think it was that interview, and then you could tell how contentious his interview with Michael Strahan was after that. Because, Jeff, I do agree. I think there is always space for a redemption story. I mean, look at Charlie Sheen. You know, he came back from the brinks of tiger blood or whatever he was doing. So America always does leave you a lane to come back, but when you do double down that second time, especially when there hasn't been any space, I think that's where you're going to start to see the pushback, and then a corporation's going to make a decision that a corporation makes. Like, this is not good for the bottom line.
Let's not act like the corporation who made the decision is high and mighty, because they've been not hiring black people since the show began, and now they're firing one because of what happened.
Well, and also,
they're saving their own butts, is what they're doing.
He wasn't cut out.
Appreciate that.
He was parachuted out. Right. And those are two completely different things.
Wow. All right. So here's a question for you. Would you sign an NDA or a contract that says you won't talk about it in order to sleep with a celebrity?
I'm going to sign something right now.
Who's the celebrity?
His wife.
You'll never know.
According to BuzzFeed News, more and more stars like Charlie Sheen, whose NDA was leaked to the media in 2015, are making their one-night stand sign a contract saying they won't spill the tea afterwards. So Stormy Daniels said she signed an NDA and was paid $130,000 in exchange for her silence over an alleged affair with Donald Trump. Also, Kandi Burruss from The Real Housewives of Atlanta said on the show that she requires NDAs before getting involved with threesomes. What do we think about people doing this? Is it smart to protect themselves?
I have friends that have been doing this since day one, so this is not new to me. But I'll just say this: it just seems like, especially like with the Stormy Daniels thing, she still spoke on it. So I don't understand. Is there a punitive damages? Like what can you do to somebody that has broken an NDA? Because it doesn't seem like there's a lot of payback for that.
It doesn't seem ironclad.
Right. I don't get it.
Well, I think the Stormy Daniels example was very different because there were so many other things happening. But ultimately, there can be damages. I just think that she wasn't the priority, and that might have been. But I think they asked or tried to get the money back. I'm going to say this. If you ever receive an NDA, then just know this is like never dating anonymous, okay? That means that you are a one night, or if you're really great, maybe 2 or 3 night stand, okay? That means that you can, if that was on your bucket list and that's all, that was your hall pass, that was whatever it was, then you make sure that you get your experience out of that night, because that person is going to act like they never ever knew you, and you're going to come across as super crazy.
I think a lot of people are okay with that.
If you're okay and that's enough for you, then that's enough for you. But just know that that's what it is. You're not even being considered.
But why are we going to stop?
Erased.
Why are we going to stop at sex? Why not like dinner parties? Like, you come over to my house, NDA. You don't talk about it. That's all. See you later.
Wait, what?
Don't come over. You're signing something. If it gets a little aggressive at dinner, I like to eat a lot and get aggressive.
I guarantee you certain celebrities like Justin Bieber, if he's having a get-together, I would imagine he would want to protect himself and do NDAs. Why not?
I don't find it crazy.
You don't have to worry about that, but...
I was talking to a friend of mine about this on his podcast just really quickly. He just said that he stopped kind of hanging out with people because he would hang out. He's a guy that liked to go to the bar. He'd talk to people, and then they'd post that, you know, that guy was a jerk, and he'd be like, we talked about baseball for 40 minutes, and we left.
Right.
But now people's kind of social currency is having a story about Erica Cobb, and just saying Erica's nice, that's not going to get likes. We got Erica tried to stab me. Like, that's going to get some traction.
I doubt it.
I doubt that out there. Okay, so we do love our fans here at DBL, and some viewers even send in gifts, or maybe they're trolling me. So first I got this t-shirt, okay, that says... Man Overboat. If you can see it, I don't know if you can. But it says
like that.
Man Overboat because I mispronounced the name of the movie.
What was the name of the movie?
Overboard.
There we go. With who?
What about Overboat? With Goldie Hawn.
Overboard. Yes. Please remember when you bring up movies from 49 years ago.
Hey, Man Overboat. I guess it's the same term.
It's literally like Overboard.
Listen,
Sorry that I got the title wrong. I love how quick you were. Man Overboat. But I wanted, so Liz Draper, she's one of our viewers, and she says that she was laid off due to COVID-19 and had a lot of newfound free time. So she started this company, Liz Draper, and she made this shirt and a bunch of us journals. Isn't that cool?
Oh,
nice.
I know. Okay, so this next one, I definitely know I was being trolled. A viewer was inspired to send me something after I attempted to sing a Russian song from my childhood. Watch. I still remember one song in Russian.
No, you don't.
Yeah.
Well, now we got something for the end.
It's true. It's true. I was a peace child and I'm proud. Erica's reaction is priceless. What were you thinking?
I was just looking at my upholstery.
Sure.
I was.
Do you want to know what the viewer wrote? The viewer said, Sam, I couldn't resist. I actually got a set as a child. You have a voice of an angel, LOL. I rewatched this a few times. Keep up the great work, guys. The funny thing about this is, so Sophie's birthday is tomorrow, and she was begging me for an early birthday gift. So I gave, that's why the top's missing. I gave it to Sophie yesterday. I go, here's an early birthday gift.
You gave her the top of a Russian nesting doll?
No, I gave her the whole thing. I don't know where the top is. But you know what she said? No, thank you, Mom.
Oh.
You didn't like it.
My grandmother brought these back from Russia, so if you keep opening them, they just get smaller and smaller and smaller. The viewer doesn't know. You didn't explain that.
People know what these are.
I don't think so.
People understand that they get smaller and smaller and smaller.
I bet you 50%. Half of America doesn't even know our vice president. You think they're going to know that?
And why are you taking it apart that angrily? Like, it's supposed to be a toy. You seem kind of upset with it.
I'm not upset with it.
You're having no joy taking it apart, Sam. How is Sophie supposed to attach herself?
Sophie didn't want it.
Yeah, you gotta put them back together as you take them out. They can't just be the heads.
Okay, enough. Let's get to the next story. But thank you. I want to thank Binta. Binta, thank you. B-I-N-T-A. Appreciate you.
I appreciate mine too, Binta.
Well, they were making fun of me, not you, so you're good.
I still want some Russian nesting dolls. Come on.
You can have one of these.
Well, no, I can't just take one.
You can take the baby one.
It's not a Russian nesting doll. It's just a weird...
Here, you can have the baby one. Okay. All right. So a couple in Stop It, Al. A couple
according to plan.
A couple in Wisconsin found a creative way to show their pride. So a man and his husband were ordered to take down their rainbow pride flag, similar to this one, from their home. Their neighborhood association rules say homes can only display the official U.S. flag. Not even sports teams' flags are permitted, so the men decided to flood their house with lights representing the colors of the rainbow instead. The photo of the house that was originally posted on Reddit has now gone viral. That is creative.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's kind of part of it when you do sign up for an HOA, and that's why people are trying to avoid that. I don't know if you guys deal with that, but I don't want somebody telling me if I can hang a flag outside. Is the state flag okay? Like, what is this? Why are you wasting your time with this?
Because they want the neighborhood to look cohesive, but it's ridiculous. Like, it took us months to get approval on the color of our house, to paint our house. and there's vines that are apparently not to code. So now we have to remove vines.
I feel
by
like this should be in an email, not on TV.
It's HOA people are like 10 people get together that have nothing to do.
They walk the neighborhood.
And that's what they do. Yeah,
Yep.
they're like, your bush is kind of dying. You need a new one.
Really?
On top of the check that I'm sending you? Okay.
Now, do you understand why I love when Mark plants a bush and keeps it nice and pruned? Okay.
He does not approve.
Okay. Good luck with y'all's HOAs. That's exactly why we didn't move into a neighborhood with an HOA, because I would not have the patience.
Erica Cobb, you have people dropping off squirrels in front of your...
Okay, but we live in the city. We live in an actual neighborhood, not Wisteria Lane.
You do have some more interesting videos than we have.
Yeah, it keeps it interesting. I'm a city girl.
Coming up on DBL, we are talking with actress Yolanda Ross from Showtime's The Chi. And a lot of our coworkers are still at home, but we're slowly and safely bringing them back into the studio. We cannot wait to see you all.
Closed captioning provided by
It feels like we've been talking about space tourism for decades, but it could finally be launching into reality. Let's connect the dots. In April of 2001, wealthy businessman Dennis Tito paid $20 million for a seat on a Russian Soyuz. It was pricey for a short trip, and since then, only 7 people have followed suit. According to reports, NASA's always been hesitant to allow tourists to travel with astronauts. It was really only the Russians, looking to cover costs, that were willing to let tourists on board. But now, with the rise of private companies, options to travel into space are popping up left and right. Blue Origin is planning a suborbital flight on July 20th. While Jeff Bezos and his brother will be on board, they'll also be a winner of an online auction. And in September, SpaceX is launching 4 civilian astronauts into space on board the Crew Dragon capsule. Despite these promising steps, it hasn't been smooth sailing. Virgin Galactic is the other big private player when it comes to space tourism. A pilot was killed in a crash in 2014, and engineers were forced to make changes. Now it says it won't launch tourists until 2022. Then there's the price. Depending on the trip, tickets range from $55 million to $200,000, keeping the stars out of reach for most of us.
Welcome back to DBL. Showtime's hit series, The Chi, mirrors the drama many Americans face. And one of the show's breakout stars, my girl, Yolanda Ross, spoke with me earlier about season 4 and more. That's today's Chatting with the Stars. Yolanda, sis, welcome to DBL.
I'm happy to be here, Erica. We've been watching you.
Girl, I am so excited. I mean, we have so many connections. You are my Instagram friend. And you know, I know all about The Chi. Of course, I'm from Chicago, so the show really hits close to home. But first, let me shout out your parents, because I know that your parents are a part of the DBL Nation, and we love them.
You know they're watching right now, so.
I love it.
Now I'm going to hear all about it, so I'm just trying to make sure everything is right.
Everything will be perfect, and we appreciate them watching. So let's talk about you, because your story is so amazing. Now, you started acting, and your first gig was on SNL. So explain how you, quote, stumbled into that opportunity.
This store that I worked for in Soho called Nana, one of my employees, her name is Kelly, she used to do background work for SNL. So one weekend she was sick and I was just like, well, this is New York, you know, any amount of money you can get, you go for it. And I was like, so could I just fill in for you? You know, I'm a body, they can use me. And they did use me. So SNL, they hired me that weekend and they kept hiring me. So I ended up getting my union card and then an agent. And so, you know, in the late 90s, you could see me in the background of, like, say, Night at Roxbury. There were so many characters because I was there every weekend. So it was just a lot of fun. I made a couple extra $100 each week. Got to see the musical guests and, you know, got my union card.
That is amazing, but it also is a testament to what happens when you hustle. So everybody out there, you remember that, okay? Now, before you landed a lead role on The Chi, you just mentioned you also stole scenes in other major projects like New York Undercover, Antoine Fisher, and How to Get Away with Murder, which, oh my gosh, is like one of my all-time faves. Do you have any like funny or quirky stories about any of those stars?
There is a little one with Denzel when we were doing Antoine Fisher. That was like my second big thing that I had done. You know, they colored my hair at the time and he was giving his approval and he was just like looking. Then he just went, you know, and he was just like, I just had to like mess with your hair.
Oh.
So people like that girl's hair. What can I
like Denzel touched your hair?
Like, mess with it. Go ahead. I'm not stopping you.
Yeah, I know. He might be the only one who gets an exception to touch your hair.
Anybody else is death stare, like, don't even.
Exactly. Well, your character, Jada, in The Chi is a single mom, and this season she's an empty nester battling cancers.
I know if anything happened, he wouldn't be able to handle it.
You're not giving him enough credit.
I know, my child.
How does this reflect current issues within our healthcare system?
Well, you know the disparities are there. You know they're there. With this subject, I went in and I started working with a lot of organizations here in Chicago that deal with healthcare disparities. We can be doing everything we are supposed to, but we are not getting the care we are supposed to. It's not the same level of care. And, you know, and Jada goes through this on the show as well.
I love what you guys are doing. I've been a day oneer because I remember when Ty got booked on the show, y'all debuted about the same time that we debuted. And I've just been cheering like for you guys the whole time. Yolanda Ross, I look forward to seeing so much more of you. Listen, follow another member of DBL Nation by watching season 4 of The Chi on Showtime. We'll be right back.
Thanks, Erica.
Several times a day, you may get that insufferable call that has
This message is from the Social Security
or on the other end, and you've probably wondered, why can't we stop robocalls?
The US is somewhere close to 5 billion robocalls every month.
It's just certainly important to not pick up the phone unless you absolutely know who's calling.
Our sources are Alex Kalichi, CEO of UMail, a company that specializes in blocking robocalls, and Amy Knopfziger, Director of Fraud Victim Support for AARP.
Think of robocalls as like banner ads. They're really cheap, they're really easy to do, and enough people click on them or answer the call and respond that they're worth doing.
For something so easy to make, our experts say they're difficult to stop, especially when they come from spoofed phone numbers.
It's like a game of whack-a-mole. You take one down and another one pops up.
To start, law enforcement officials are limited by their jurisdictions.
So a lot of the call centers are actually overseas, but the biggest problem is it's hard to tell the good robocallers from the bad.
And that's the other point. States and the federal government can't just stop all robocalls. A large section of robocalls are actually helpful. They're used for prescriptions or for doctor's appointments. So in the meantime, companies like UMail have designed apps to weed out the bad ones. And our experts say the federal government recently passed laws to help cell phone providers do the same.
Because it's actually going to allow and empower these telecommunication companies to verify and authenticate the phone number that is showing up on your caller ID.
Welcome back to DBL. When it comes to your home, design trends can go in and out of style pretty quickly. According to an HGTV host, certain trends can actually tank your home's value. We're chatting about it in today's Bang for Your Buck, presented by The Hartford. So first, don't go overboard with do-it-yourself projects. DIY stuff are usually too personal, and potential home buyers may not appreciate your unique sense of style. Second, excessive tiling. It's a new and popular trend, but it can make the room feel smaller and busy. And last, avoid painting your walls gray. The color doesn't photograph well, which is important when reselling your home. So when it comes to your home, we've made it easy for quality and affordable home insurance. The Buck's got your back, and The Hartford will be happy to provide you solutions. So call The Hartford at 1-800-684-6085 or visit thehartford.com to learn more. You are Mr. DIY.
I might be overboard, and I have a gray wall.
You DIY things that I think
DIY.
Of course. You DIY things that people want. A mudroom.
Yeah, but I would take things down. Like if I move, we do it to make ourselves happy. So I think do what makes you happy. You know what I mean? I'm not going to be like, in 20 years, I don't think some guy's going to come in here and like this.
Yeah, but you're not like putting in like a random elephant sculpture. You're putting in a mudroom. Who doesn't love a mudroom?
I have a fountain we're putting in our living room.
No, you're not.
Your mudroom is adding value for sure.
Very
but
much so.
I only do things that I can remove from the home that are like uniquely mine. Everything else that's attached to the house is more like anybody, because who knows when you're going to move.
How's the pool coming along?
I don't know what you're talking about.
I want a pool.
I'm excited. We'll be right back.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by
Local leaders and businesses are getting creative to try and convince people to get the COVID-19 shot. But do vaccine incentives really work? Let's connect the dots. It depends on how hesitant people are in the first place. The more hesitant someone is, the less likely an incentive will work. According to a recent poll, men were more likely than women to get the shot for a prize. The survey also found millennials were the age group most likely to be motivated by freebies. Cash is king. A study earlier this year found that 2/3 of adults say money is what's most likely to motivate them to get the vaccine. But some experts say incentives could backfire. Psychologists say offering cash for something makes people think there's a risk associated with it, which is not the case with the COVID shot. And that is connecting the dots.
This is for Jeff Schroeder from your co-workers at Daily Blast Live. Well, you've been around the sun another time, Jeff. That means you're a year older. One time around the sun is a year. Well, you want to be me for a day. Whoa. What you have to do is get up at 5:35 a.m. Get dressed, stretch out, brush your teeth, wash your face, and everything else you do by instinct. No plans. The best way to make plans is don't make them. Just be natural with it, your natural purpose of living. Now, we were both on Big Brother. I'm in London and you're in LA. Okay.
Tomorrow on DBL, inside the mind of the infamous Casey Anthony. Her former cellmate is speaking to DBL.
Did you ever point blank ask her, did you kill your daughter?
You know,
Don't miss this all-new True Crime Chronicles tomorrow only on DBL.
Welcome back to DBL. Erica, you got some comments?
Yes, Christopher on Facebook said, glad you guys are back together. You break up the afternoon great show. I never miss it. And Sam, I'm going to give you an opportunity to respond to this.
Yes.
Jennifer on Facebook says, was Sam making fun of a gift she received from a viewer? If so, how rude?
Jennifer, that would have been rude, but the viewer wrote me a really silly tongue-in-cheek letter saying that she couldn't resist and that I have a voice of an angel, LOL. So I was responding knowing that the viewer came in with a tongue-in-cheek message with the Russian doll. I was trying to be tongue-in-cheek back. So no, I appreciate the gift. I was just trying to banter back with her original message. And I love this. Are you kidding me? Because I do misspeak.
Are you going to wear that at your 4th of July party? You just tell everybody you agreed to have a party, just so it's on record?
I'm going to have a party with a big pool, like an inflatable pool.
Okay. I didn't know if we were going to still have a job after you finished that.
Okay. DBL's new every day. We'll see you tomorrow, same time, same place. Bye, guys.
Here's what we're talking about today on Daily Blast Live.
Chris Harrison leaves the Bachelor franchise for good. Plus, actress Ellie Kemper apologizes for her past involvement in a pageant with racist ties. Is cancel culture getting out of control? Another shocking revelation in the Gates divorce saga. Did Melinda really hire a private investigator to spy on Bill? Plus, Wayne Brady is here live, and Yolanda Ross from The Chi tells us all about working with Denzel Washington.
Denzel touched your hair?
Like, mess with it.
Real, honest, entertaining, live. DBL starts right now.
3, 2.
Little delayed there, David. Just kidding. Welcome to DBL. It's Tuesday, June 8th. I'm Sam here with Jeff, Al, and Erica. I love this. Welcome back, Al. We missed you.
Thank you. Good to be back. I'm a little shiny because I'm straight from the airport, so I'm a little sweaty.
Landed, from the airport.
Took a shower and came here. I took a shower because of you guys.
Wow.
I love y'all.
Well, thank you.
But yeah, it was worth it. I mean, South Carolina was amazing. Woke up there this morning, and now at noon I'm with my best friend, so life is good.
Oh, we love you, Al.
Hey, Al, doesn't this feel good?
This is like
strange?
surreal, yes, because
Right?
I haven't seen us all together, so let's do a
and
show.
this close, right? right?
I love it.
All right, well, let's get to it because cancel culture is a topic we have on the show quite a bit, right? Well, we got some more for you. We have a question. When does cancel culture go too far? And should people be held accountable for past actions or associations? That's the big conversation today because there are a couple of stories about people being canceled. So just this morning, it's been reported that Chris Harrison is officially breaking up with Bachelor Nation. We're going to talk all about this a little later in the show, so stay tuned for that story. But right now, let's talk about actress Ellie Kemper. You might know her, of course, from The Office or Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt. Ellie is now apologizing after this picture of her went viral, showing her as the winner of a debutante ball when she was just 19 years old. So Ellie posted this on Instagram saying, quote, "The century-old organization that hosted the debutante ball had an unquestionably racist, sexist, and elitist past. I was not aware of this history at the time, but ignorance is no excuse. I want to apologize to the people I've disappointed, and I promise that moving forward, I will listen, continue to educate myself, and use my privilege in support of the better society I think we're capable of becoming." So what do you think about Chris leaving Bachelor Nation, and did Ellie need to apologize? Are these cases of cancel culture going too far, in your opinion, Jeff?
So we're going to talk about Chris later on.
Let's talk about Chris later.
Okay, let's just focus on Ellie.
On Ellie.
Okay, so I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. Did these pictures leak and then she had apologized, or did she try to get ahead of it first? Because I don't understand the organization. I don't know the racist, sexist, misogynistic part of this story.
But you don't know about the organization.
I don't know about the organization, right? So what is the organization? What are we...
She's talking about the organization that sponsored this pageant, basically. And it's very interesting that this is happening on the same day that Chris Harrison is officially stepping down from The Bachelor, Bachelorette, and I know we'll talk about that later, but you look at that in comparison to the response from Rachel Kirkconnell, who was the selected Bachelorette from last season. You know, she very much doubled down, and not necessarily publicly, but it was very telling by the reaction that Matt, the Bachelor, had to her lack of even wanting to understand why this was antiquated, racist, and misogynistic, and all the other things. So the fact that she's coming forward, that's really what you have to do. If you feel like you've done something, and we've all done things in our past, it's just a matter of time for some of us, but we've all done things, and if you really feel like you've changed and you've evolved, then you say, hey, listen, I am not the version of that person. I understand why these things are wrong, and I am going to make sure that other people understand from this point forward. I am sorry.
So given that she's done that, do you feel,
I'm still a little confused. Okay. I want to go back because now what you're saying is if I played Little League Baseball and the president was racist, I have to go back and figure that out in some sort of way?
I think this is a little different than that. You're talking about an institution that started and rooted in racism, oppression, and degradation. So she's saying that she didn't understand all of those elements of the history at the time, but now that she understands it, she's apologizing because she wants other people to understand. These are organizations that are very much inbred into societies and cultures. And if she's someone who people look at as an example, then it is her responsibility, if that's how she feels, to come forward and say this was wrong and this is why.
Here's my thing. I don't mean to keep doing this, but if you're brought up in a certain part of the country or a certain area, those things are going to be ingrained in the culture. You can't control that as a little child. And if you're part of a pageant, and then you're in that not realizing that at 19 years old, why would you have to apologize for that?
Well, I think as a pageant or someone who is actually has won a pageant, then you're also promoting a platform. So you're not just a participant, you're also very much an ambassador. So when you're coming forward and saying, you know, this isn't my ideology and I did not understand, it is important in that situation. We're not talking about like things that are ingrained in most institutions, to be quite honest, because there's sexism, misogyny, and racism all over the place.
But I'll say this, because I see where both you guys are coming from, but I think we need to remember that when you apologize for anything, a lot of people say, remember we talked about recipes and like changing Auntie's recipe a little bit to make it more healthy? What you're saying is I want you to live longer, but what she's hearing is there's something wrong with this recipe that's been in our family for this long. And that's a lot about what we're hearing now. When somebody feels like you need to apologize for being in this play, for dressing the way the people in the pictures in my family look like when I look. That's where I think we're getting the pushback. I don't think they necessarily care about the play. I don't think they care about the pageant at all. What they're saying is, why is who I identify with something I need to apologize for? And I think once we can have that conversation, just like we can have that conversation with Auntie about why we need to use, you know, we can't use lard anymore. We need to switch it on up to something else. I think we can move forward. But when people feel attacked, they're not going to move.
I agree with that. I totally agree with that.
You just have a problem with like a teenager who's in a household who's just following.
I don't have a problem with it. That's not the right way to say that.
That's not the right way. I'm trying to take your side.
Absolutely. But
yes.
we have to be very careful about this and the words that we use.
No, you're right. I think where you're coming from, and this is where I wrestle with, even though I agree with both of you, because as an adult, if you're 19 years old, you can fight for your country. You should know better. However, there are caveats to your point where if you're a teenager, you're growing up in this bubble, right? And then you, essentially, it's your parents' responsibility to educate you, or your school system, which we all know is whitewashed, right? A lot of these textbooks do not paint the picture. They probably don't even tell you what the history of debutante balls are and how they're rooted in white supremacy. So I agree with you. At 19 years old, is it more her parents' responsibility, the school's responsibility, her responsibility, and should she have to apologize? But now that she knows that it was rooted in white supremacy, as an adult, can she look back and say, oh, this makes me cringe. I'm so sorry. I wish I would have known more. And I think both can be true.
I think that's exactly true.
It's also important that she took the responsibility.
Yes.
My first thought was, that wasn't her.
Right.
Like, that was likely where she grew up. That was likely her parents.
Of her environment. Yes.
But she decided not to bring that up. It's almost like you make a mistake and you happen to be drinking. You're like, I was drunk. Well, no, just own up to the mistake. Yeah. It's a mistake.
Such an important conversation. Yes. I'm so glad that we were able to like fully hash it out, because I know a lot of you are just quick to say cancel her or don't cancel her when there's a lot of nuance. We'll be right back.
Closed captioning provided by
It feels like we've been talking about space tourism for decades, but it could finally be launching into reality. Let's connect the dots. In April of 2001, wealthy businessman Dennis Tito paid $20 million for a seat on a Russian Soyuz. It was pricey for a short trip, and since then, only 7 people have followed suit. According to reports, NASA's always been hesitant to allow tourists to travel with astronauts. It was really only the Russians, looking to cover costs, that were willing to let tourists on board. But now, with the rise of private companies, options to travel into space are popping up left and right. Blue Origin is planning a suborbital flight on July 20th. While Jeff Bezos and his brother will be on board, there'll also be a winner of an online auction. And in September, SpaceX is launching 4 civilian astronauts into space on board the Crew Dragon capsule. Despite these promising steps, it hasn't been smooth sailing. Virgin Galactic is the other big private player when it comes to space tourism. A pilot was killed in a crash in 2014, and engineers were forced to make changes. Now it says it won't launch tourists until 2022. Then there's the price. Depending on the trip, tickets range from $55 million to $200,000, keeping the stars out of reach for most of us.
Welcome back to DBL. If you thought your partner was cheating or up to something. How far would you go to find out? Would you hire a private investigator? Well, Vanity Fair is out with new details about Bill and Melinda Gates' divorce. And in the article, they say Bill would change cars to go meet with women. Say what? They also claim someone from Melinda's team hired a private investigator to dig up dirt on the billionaire. Now Melinda's team denies this, saying Melinda never hired API. But the question is, would you hire a private investigator to spy on your partner? Yes or no? DBL Nation, what do you think? Go to dblvote.com to weigh in. Let's not get in the weeds as far as because we know that certain people might do it for divorce purposes or custody, whatever it may be. Let's just boil it down to brass tacks. If you suspected your partner,
listen, I think Erica Cobb probably has the best answer. If you want to boil it down. I don't know why, because Erica just has good advice and she'll break it down.
No, I would not hire a private investigator if I suspected.
Because why though? Because I know what you're going to say. If you know, you know, right?
Right. I would feel like if I was that rooted in the belief that my husband was being unfaithful to me, then
no trust.
Right, there's something else going on. There's a whole lot going on. So no, am I going to spend my good money to go and figure it out? No, because eventually everything that's done in the dark comes to the light.
I would say that Erica is more intuitive than most people, including me. And so you might not know. And do you want to risk that I just know? And then you're like, what if they were planning a surprise party? You told me that Jordan said you were acting weird the morning that you were going to ask her to marry her. And she thought you were cheating. So what if she had hired a PI or broken up with you? It's like you do kind of want to know if it's somebody you've invested the last couple years of your life with. So, I mean, wouldn't you rather just be wrong and have a funny story at dinner?
That's not funny.
I don't know.
How is that funny?
Let me tell you about the time I've hired a private investigator, but Jeff was about to marry me. That's a cute story.
Now, I will have to be honest that a lot of me would want to hire a PI, and I would want to do my own PI. I'd want to peruse Facebook, the phone. I've never had to do that with Mark, and I never foresee having to do that because we do have trust. But I know a part of me would want to be my own PI.
Yeah, I think there's something we don't admit to. I think people kind of want that. I think people kind of want to dig a little bit.
Sam wants to paint her face and sneak around.
Yeah.
Don't say paint my face.
What do you mean?
Late at night?
What do you mean paint
like a
my
robber.
face? What? Robbers paint their faces?
Like camouflage, like you're in the bushes. What'd you think I meant? Like something dirty?
No, but...
What kind of weird stuff do you guys do?
I think that's a wrap. Was that producer? Yeah, I think that's a wrap.
Would you hire a private investigator? 53% of you say yes. Okay. Coming up on DBL, Wayne Brady is here.
I hope he's listening.
Are we sure he's still here?
Oh my God.
Brady's here live from Let's Make a Deal to collaborating with actress Glenn Close. We're going to talk all about it next.
Times a day, you may get that insufferable call that has
This message is from the Social Security
or on the other end, and you've probably wondered, why can't we stop robocalls?
The U.S. is somewhere close to 5 billion robocalls every month.
It's just certainly important to not pick up the phone unless you absolutely know who's calling.
Our sources are Alex Kalichi, CEO of Umail, a company that specializes in blocking robocalls, and Amy Knopfziger, Director of Fraud Victim Support for AARP.
Think of robocalls as like banner ads. They're really cheap, they're really easy to do, and enough people click on them or answer the call and respond that they're worth doing.
For something so easy to make, our experts say they're difficult to stop, especially when they come from spoofed phone numbers.
It's like a game of whack-a-mole. You take one down and another one pops up.
To start, law enforcement officials are limited by their jurisdictions.
So a lot of the call centers are actually overseas, but the biggest problem is it's hard to tell the good robocallers from the bad.
And that's the other point. States and the federal government can't just stop all robocalls. A large section of robocalls are actually helpful. They're used for prescriptions or for doctor's appointments. So in the meantime, companies like Umail have designed apps to weed out the bad ones. And our experts say the federal government recently passed laws to help cell phone providers do the same.
Because it's actually going to allow and empower these telecommunication companies to verify and authenticate the phone number that is showing up on your caller ID.
Welcome back to DBL. With 5 Emmys and a Grammy nod, Wayne Brady has made a name for himself as a comedian, actor, and TV host. But now the funny man is showing another side of himself, and he's joining us live. Wayne, welcome to DBL. Look at that heart on the shirt. I like it.
Hey there. Thank you.
So you're currently nominated for an Emmy for Outstanding Game Show Host. Now, Alex Trebek joins you in that category. Many fans would love to see the late Jeopardy host win, including yourself. But who do you think should replace him on Jeopardy?
I really don't have a thought on it. I mean, whoever is the best person for it. Jeopardy is an institution. It's there are people who could do the job. No one is ever going to be Alex Trebek, and people like what they like. I think it all matters on. It could be anyone from Anderson Cooper to LeVar Burton, who I think would be an amazing choice. There are people lined up who each could do a great job in their own right. It all depends on what people want to see. Personally, I love someone like LeVar, and I love what he brings to the table. Let's see what happens.
Wayne, I'm a big fan, man. Let's Make a Deal is back, and it's giving the show's losers a second chance. So what's the best part about giving Zork contestants that second chance? They're probably thinking about it every day after they left that show.
Well, Zonk, you know, what we tried to do with Let's Make a Deal is the Zonk, of course, is the bad prize if you pick incorrectly and luck just isn't on your side. But being able to give someone a chance at redemption, to say this is the decision that you made that wasn't a good one, and here's another shot to take home some money. How often do you get a second chance to redo something like that? So that's just fun. And if someone can win and take something home, it just makes me happy.
Absolutely.
I love it. Now, Wayne, we all know that your close friend, Glenn Close, surprised everybody by doing the butt dance at the Oscars. Yes, but she also, and let's not let this go to the side, she also dropped a new jazz album. Were you surprised that she asked you to join her on that project? That's really cool.
No, I think I was more surprised because I've known Glenn a few years now, and the thing that surprised me is years ago when she approached me and she saw me do Kinky Boots for the first time, and I've always looked up to her as an actor, and the fact that someone like her likes my work, that's the thing that always hit me, and I was surprised at the depth of her love and humanity. So when she started doing this project with Ted called Transformations, that didn't surprise me. I was nervous because to share the stage with Glenn Close, and I did, I think, 3 numbers, 3 spoken word numbers. That is one of the highlights of my life, man.
Wow.
So I'm not surprised by her. I'm surprised by what an amazing person she is.
So, Wayne, I understand that working with Glenn also inspired you to write your spoken word piece, The Angriest Black Man in America. Now, most people know you for being funny, not, quote, angry, but unveiling just a little bit, you have been the subject teetering the line of what blackness means since you first came on to our screens. And I really want to know if you would share a little bit about it and also explain why was it a challenge for you to finish, because I know this is a big topic.
Oh, thank you. Well, the piece actually existed before Glenn asked me to. And to your point, I kind of look at my career like that story of the blind men and the elephant. Each person feels a different part of the elephant, and that's the piece that they like. And I made peace with that a long time ago, that some people go, oh, you're funny and you do this. I know that I've done tons of roles that are not funny. I feel that an actor should act and you should be allowed to be everything that you are. If that's the thing that you like, that's great. That's made me a lot of money. I'm not going to fight it. But as for me as an artist, I know what I bring to the table. So when I write a piece like this, it's not like I'm writing it to, I'm going to flip the paradigm. It's, no, I'm sharing this. And especially in this day and age, we've gone through, the racial tumult. I felt that sharing my story as part of Glenn's transformation piece and labeling it The Angriest Black Man in America, it was a tongue-in-cheek title, but it's also very apt. Because people choose to look at someone like myself a certain way and go, oh, you make me smile and I like it when you're shiny and happy. Just because I make you feel comfortable that way doesn't mean that there's not a lot going on within me. And I was able to share that in the poem about how being Black is not a monolithic thing. It's not just what you perceive or this person perceives. It's so many things. And that's part of the Black experience, in my opinion, that you should be allowed to be the entire spectrum. And in this piece, I talk about self-forgiveness at a young age, being angry about being called certain names, being angry about being looked at as, oh, if someone calls you a good one, what the hell does that mean? To learning to accept yourself. And it centers around this incident that happened in my front yard where a girl basically told me that I was ugly for being Black. Wow. And I was forgiving myself for years of being angry at myself that I didn't even know that I was angry about. So it's a lot to unpack. And I feel that it's my job to be able to show all sides.
Wow. You walk the walk, Wayne, that's for sure. Multifaceted, you do it all. And thank you for sharing that personal anecdote with us all. It's pretty impressive. Okay, so DBL Nation, you can see Wayne live at the Blue Note in Hawaii from June 18th to June 20th. Visit BlueNoteHawaii.com for more information. We appreciate you, Wayne.
Thanks, Wayne.
We'll be right back.
Thank you, brother.
Thanks, y'all.
Appreciate you.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by
Local leaders and businesses are getting creative to try and convince people to get the COVID-19 shot. But do vaccine incentives really work? Let's connect the dots. It depends on how hesitant people are in the first place. The more hesitant someone is, the less likely an incentive will work. According to a recent poll, men were more likely than women to get the shot for a prize. The survey also found millennials were the age group most likely to be motivated by freebies. Cash is king. A study earlier this year found that 2/3 of adults say money is what's most likely to motivate them to get the vaccine. But some experts say incentives could backfire. Psychologists say offering cash for something makes people think there's a risk associated with it, which is not the case with the COVID shot. And that is connecting the dots.
This is for Jeff Schroeder from your co-workers at Daily Blast Live. Well, you've been around the sun another time, Jeff. That means you're a year older. One time around the sun is a year. Well, you want to be me for a day. Whoa. What you have to do is get up at 5:35 a.m. Get dressed, stretch out, brush your teeth, wash your face, and everything else you do by instinct. No plans. The best way to make plans is don't make them. Just be natural with it, your natural purpose of living. Now, we were both on Big Brother. I'm in London and you're in LA. Okay.
Welcome back to DBL. We've got some crazy video out of France. The French president was slapped across the face today by a man in a crowd he was greeting. I know. The man apparently yelled "down with Macron" before slapping him. So 2 men have been arrested. But what do you think of this happening to a president? Now, if you recall, we did have that one incident with George Bush, right? I think we may even have the video, if you guys don't remember, with the shoe. I mean, it's scary to think that this can happen to these world leaders, but it does happen.
Yeah, at that point, though, I think Secret Service takes a step back and let them handle their own business. Because if somebody slaps me, I'm going to slap them back, okay?
Right.
I got no doubt you could take that guy either, because that was kind of like a weak slap.
Yeah,
like, a good one.
Yeah, well, he pulled him in and smacked him. So, I mean, he was waiting on that. Yeah, he grabs his forearm and then hits him. I mean,
that was like an olive oil slap.
But you know that you're going to be taken away by Secret Service.
I mean, I don't think it's the same way as when people streak on the soccer or football field. People do that. So it's for attention or make a point. He made his point.
Interesting. If you're leaving us, you can watch the second half of the show on Facebook or YouTube. But if you're sticking around, here's what's coming up. Kandi Burruss has revealed in the past she's made people sign non-disclosure agreements before sex. So would you sign one before sleeping with a celeb? Plus, Chris Harrison is out at Bachelor Nation. We've got the new details, and a big thank you to our co-workers watching from home right now. DBL's new every day. We'll be right back.
This is Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about. Real, honest, entertaining, live. DBL starts right now.
3, 2.
Welcome to DBL. I'm Sam here with Jeff, Allen, Erica. Let's get started. So as we talked about earlier, big news in Bachelor Nation. Longtime host Chris Harrison is ending his relationship with Bachelor Nation. So back in February, Chris announced he was stepping aside as host after he came under fire for defending a contestant who attended an Old South party on a plantation when she was in college. According to Deadline, Chris's final rose is coming in the form of an 8-figure payout. Wow. Chris posted this on Instagram saying he's had an incredible run as host and that he's grateful to Bachelor Nation for all the memories. So this comes just hours after the new season of The Bachelorette premiered, with Tayshia Adams and Caitlin Bristow taking over as hosts. As we mentioned, David Spade is reported to be one of the celebrity guest hosts filling in on Bachelor in Paradise later this summer. Wow. Are you surprised, Erica, about Chris Harrison fully being canceled now? Yes, he got this 8-figure payout, but I'm sure he would still want to do what he loves because he's always spoken about how he loves hosting that show.
I'm not surprised at all, but I think that everyone keeps talking about it was the controversy. I think that it was kind of the controversy along with his time had ended anyway. I know that he was a part of the franchise and obviously built the franchise, but CEOs get let go all the time, and then he got his parachute package on his way out. So I really don't see there being a problem with this. I think this happens to people in that position every day.
See,
it just shouldn't, for him, I'm sure he didn't want it to happen like that.
Yeah, I don't agree with that. Just for the fact, like Alex Trebek went all the way to the end. And if you look at CBS, you got Julie Chen, you have Jeff Probst, you have Phil Kogan. Those guys are the faces of Big Brother, Amazing Race, Survivor. When you take someone out of that, you change the dynamic of the show a little bit. When we talk about Ellie Kemper or we talk about Chris Harrison, I don't care if you're 19 or you're 65, you should be able to learn at any age that what I did was wrong and I need to grow from this. To be cut completely out of the picture and lose your livelihood and kind of what you live for and stand for because of one mistake that you made, and instead of educating and learning and showing the world what you've done, you get cut out. But we give people a pass at a younger age because their brain isn't fully developed. I'm going to make mistakes till I'm dead. And so is everybody in this room, and so is everybody at home. To not be able to recover from that, I don't agree with. That's the part of cancel culture I don't agree with.
You know what the difference is, and you say it all the time in the show, you want to be better. You want to be a better person, a better father. Chris Harrison doubled down on Access Hollywood. When he was given the opportunity to say to Rachel Lindsay, I made a mistake, he doubled down. And I think that's where Bachelor Nation and a lot of people drew the line in the sand, in my opinion. Do you disagree?
No, I agree. I think it was that interview, and then you could tell how contentious his interview with Michael Strahan was after that. Because, Jeff, I do agree. I think there is always space for a redemption story. I mean, look at Charlie Sheen. You know, he came back from the brinks of tiger blood or whatever he was doing. So America always does leave you a lane to come back, but when you do double down that second time, especially when there hasn't been any space, I think that's where you're going to start to see the pushback, and then a corporation's going to make a decision that a corporation makes. Like, this is not good for the bottom line.
Let's not act like the corporation who made this decision is high and mighty, because they've been not hiring black people since the show began, and now they're firing one because of what happened.
Well, and also,
they're saving their own butts, is what they're doing.
He wasn't cut out.
Appreciate that.
He was parachuted out. Right. And those are two completely different things.
Wow. All right. So here's a question for you. Would you sign an NDA or a contract that says you won't talk about it in order to sleep with a celebrity?
I'm going to sign something right now.
Who's the celebrity?
His wife.
You'll never know.
According to BuzzFeed News, more and more stars like Charlie Sheen, whose NDA was leaked to the media in 2015, are making their one-night stand sign a contract saying they won't spill the tea afterwards. So Stormy Daniels said she signed an NDA and was paid $130,000 in exchange for her silence over an alleged affair with Donald Trump. Also, Kandi Burruss from The Real Housewives of Atlanta said on the show that she requires NDAs before getting involved with threesomes. What do we think about people doing this? Is it smart to protect themselves?
I have friends that have been doing this since day one, so this is not new to me. But I'll just say this: it just seems like, especially like with the Stormy Daniels thing, she still spoke on it. So I don't understand. Is there a punitive damages? Like what can you do to somebody that has broken an NDA? Because it doesn't seem like there's a lot of payback for that.
It doesn't seem ironclad.
Right. I don't get it.
Well, I think the Stormy Daniels example was very different because there were so many other things happening. But ultimately, there can be damages. I just think that she wasn't the priority, and that might have been. But I think they asked or tried to get the money back. I'm going to say this. If you ever receive an NDA, then just know this is like never dating anonymous, okay? That means that you are a one night, or if you're really great, maybe 2 or 3 night stand, okay? That means that you can, if that was on your bucket list and that's all, that was your hall pass, that was whatever it was, then you make sure that you get your experience out of that night, because that person is going to act like they never ever knew you, and you're going to come across as super crazy.
I think a lot of people are okay with that.
If you're okay and that's enough for you, then that's enough for you. But just know that that's what it is. You're not even being considered.
But why are we going to stop?
Erased.
Why are we going to stop at sex? Why not like dinner parties? Like, you come over to my house, NDA. You don't talk about it. That's all. See you later.
Wait, what?
Yeah, don't come over. You're signing something. If it gets a little aggressive at dinner, I like to eat a lot and get aggressive.
I guarantee you certain celebrities like Justin Bieber, if he's having a get-together, I would imagine he would want to protect himself and do NDAs. Why not?
I don't find it crazy.
You don't have to worry about that, but...
I was talking to a friend of mine about this on his podcast just really quickly. He just said that he stopped kind of hanging out with people because he would hang out. He's a guy that liked to go to the bar. He'd talk to people, and then they'd post that, you know, that guy was a jerk, and he'd be like, we talked about baseball for 40 minutes, and we left.
Right.
But now people's kind of social currency is having a story about Erica Cobb, and just saying Erica's nice, that's not going to get likes. We got Erica tried to stab me. Like, that's going to get some traction.
So, yeah.
I doubt it.
I doubt that out there. Okay, so we do love our fans here at DBL, and some viewers even send in gifts, or maybe they're trolling me. So first I got this t-shirt, okay, that says, Man Overboat. If you can see it, I don't know if you can. It says
like that.
Man Overboat because I mispronounced the name of the movie.
What was the name of the movie?
Overboard.
There we go. With who?
What about Overboat? With Goldie Hawn.
Overboard. Yes. Please remember when you bring up movies from 49 years ago.
Hey, Man Overboat. I guess it's the same term.
It's literally like Overboard.
Listen,
Sorry that I got the title wrong. I love how quick you were. Man Overboat. But I wanted, so Liz Draper, she's one of our viewers, and she says that she was laid off due to COVID-19 and had a lot of newfound free time. So she started this company, Liz Draper, and she made this shirt and a bunch of us journals. Isn't that cool?
Oh,
nice.
I know. Okay, so this next one, I definitely know I was being trolled. A viewer was inspired to send me something after I attempted to sing a Russian song from my childhood. Watch. I still remember one song in Russian.
No, you don't.
Yeah.
Well, now we got something for the end.
It's true. It's true. I was a peace child and I'm proud. Erica's reaction is priceless. What were you thinking?
I was just looking at my upholstery.
Sure.
I was.
Do you want to know what the viewer wrote? The viewer said, Sam, I couldn't resist. I actually got a set as a child. You have a voice of an angel, LOL. I rewatched this a few times. Keep up the great work, guys. The funny thing about this is, so Sophie's birthday is tomorrow, and she was begging me for an early birthday gift. So I gave, that's why the top's missing. I gave it to Sophie yesterday. I go, here's an early birthday gift.
You gave her the top of a Russian nesting doll?
No, I gave her the whole thing. I don't know where the top is. But you know what she said? No, thank you, Mom.
Oh.
You didn't like it.
My grandmother brought these back from Russia, so if you keep opening them, they just get smaller and smaller and smaller. The viewer doesn't know. You didn't explain that.
People know what these are.
I don't think so.
People understand that they get smaller and smaller and smaller.
I bet you 50%. Half of America doesn't even know our vice president. You think they're going to know that?
And why are you taking it apart that angrily? Like, it's supposed to be a toy. You seem kind of upset with it.
I'm not upset with it.
You're having no joy taking it apart, Sam. How is Sophie supposed to attach herself?
Sophie didn't want it.
Yeah, you gotta put them back together as you take them out. They can't just be the heads.
Okay, enough. Let's get to the next story. But thank you. I want to thank Binta. Binta, thank you. B-I-N-T-A. Appreciate you.
I appreciate mine too, Binta.
Well, they were making fun of me, not you, so you're good.
I still want some Russian nesting dolls. Come on.
You can have one of these.
Well, no, I can't just take one.
You can take the baby one.
It's not a Russian nesting doll. It's just a weird...
Here, you can have the baby one. Okay. All right. So a couple in stop it, Al. A couple
went according to plan.
A couple in Wisconsin found a creative way to show their pride. So a man and his husband were ordered to take down their rainbow pride flag, similar to this one, from their home. Their neighborhood association rules say homes can only display the official U.S. flag. Not even sports teams' flags are permitted, so the men decided to flood their house with lights representing the colors of the rainbow instead. The photo of the house that was originally posted on Reddit has now gone viral. That is creative.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's kind of part of it when you do sign up for an HOA, and that's why people are trying to avoid that. I don't know if you guys deal with that, but I don't want somebody telling me if I can hang a flag outside. Is the state flag okay? Like, what is this? Why are you wasting your time with this?
Because they want the neighborhood to look cohesive, but it's ridiculous. Like, it took us months to get approval on the color of our house, to paint our house. And there's vines that are apparently not to code. So now we have to remove vines.
I feel like this should be in an email, not on TV.
It's HOA people are like 10 people get together that have nothing to do.
They walk the neighborhood.
And that's what they do. Yeah,
Yep.
they're like, your bush is kind of dying. You need a new one.
Really?
On top of the check that I'm sending you? Okay.
Now, do you understand why I love when Mark plants a bush and keeps it nice and pruned? Okay.
He does not approve.
Okay. Good luck with y'all's HOAs. That's exactly why we didn't move into a neighborhood with an HOA, because I would not have the patience.
Erica Cobb, you have people dropping off squirrels in front of your...
Okay, but we live in the city. We live in an actual neighborhood, not Wisteria Lane.
You do have some more interesting videos than we have.
Yeah, it keeps it interesting. I'm a city girl.
Coming up on DBL, we are talking with actress Yolanda Ross from Showtime's The Chi. And a lot of our coworkers are still at home, but we're slowly and safely bringing them back into the studio. We cannot wait to see you all.
Closed captioning provided by
It feels like we've been talking about space tourism for decades, but it could finally be launching into reality. Let's connect the dots. In April of 2001, wealthy businessman Dennis Tito paid $20 million for a seat on a Russian Soyuz. It was pricey for a short trip, and since then, only 7 people have followed suit. According to reports, NASA's always been hesitant to allow tourists to travel with astronauts. It was really only the Russians, looking to cover costs, that were willing to let tourists on board. But now, with the rise of private companies, options to travel into space are popping up left and right. Blue Origin is planning a suborbital flight on July 20th. While Jeff Bezos and his brother will be on board, there'll also be a winner of an online auction. And in September, SpaceX is launching 4 civilian astronauts into space on board the Crew Dragon capsule. Despite these promising steps, it hasn't been smooth sailing. Virgin Galactic is the other big private player when it comes to space tourism. A pilot was killed in a crash in 2014, and engineers were forced to make changes. Now it says it won't launch tourists until 2022. Then there's the price. Depending on the trip, tickets range from $55 million to $200,000, keeping the stars out of reach for most of us.
Welcome back to DBL. Showtime's hit series, The Chi, mirrors the drama many Americans face. And one of the show's breakout stars, my girl, Yolanda Ross, spoke with me earlier about season 4 and more. That's today's Chatting with the Stars. Yolanda, sis, welcome to DBL.
I'm happy to be here, Erica. We've been watching you.
Girl, I am so excited. I mean, we have so many connections. You are my Instagram friend. And you know, I know all about The Chi. Of course, I'm from Chicago, so the show really hits close to home. But first, let me shout out your parents, because I know that your parents are a part of the DBL Nation, and we love them.
You know they're watching right now, so.
I love it.
Now I'm going to hear all about it, so I'm just trying to make sure everything is right.
Everything will be perfect, and we appreciate them watching. So let's talk about you, because your story is so amazing. Now, you started acting, and your first gig was on SNL. So explain how you, quote, stumbled into that opportunity.
This store that I worked for in Soho called Nana, one of my employees, her name is Kelly, she used to do background work for SNL. So one weekend she was sick and I was just like, well, this is New York, you know, any amount of money you can get, you go for it. And I was like, so could I just fill in for you? You know, I'm a body, they can use me. And they did use me. So SNL, they hired me that weekend and they kept hiring me. So I ended up getting my union card and then an agent. And so, you know, in the late 90s, you could see me in the background of, like, say, Night at Roxbury. There were so many characters because I was there every weekend. So it was just a lot of fun. I made a couple extra $100 each week. Got to see the musical guests and, you know, got my union card.
That is amazing, but it also is a testament to what happens when you hustle. So everybody out there, you remember that, okay? Now, before you landed a lead role on The Chi, you just mentioned you also stole scenes in other major projects like New York Undercover, Antoine Fisher, and How to Get Away with Murder, which, oh my gosh, is like one of my all-time faves. Do you have any like funny or quirky stories about any of those stars?
There is a little one with Denzel when we were doing Antoine Fisher. That was like my second big thing that I had done. You know, they colored my hair at the time and he was giving his approval and he was just like looking. Then he just went, you know, and he was just like, I just had to like mess with your hair.
Oh.
So people like that girl's hair. What can I
like Denzel touched your hair?
Like, mess with it. Go ahead. I'm not stopping you.
Yeah, I know. He might be the only one who gets an exception to touch your hair.
Anybody else is death stare, like, don't even.
Exactly. Well, your character, Jada, in The Chi is a single mom, and this season she's an empty nester battling cancers.
I know if anything happened, he wouldn't be able to handle it.
You're not giving him enough credit.
I know, my child.
How does this reflect current issues within our healthcare system?
Well, you know the disparities are there. You know they're there. With this subject, I went in and I started working with a lot of organizations here in Chicago that deal with healthcare disparities. We can be doing everything we are supposed to, but we are not getting the care we are supposed to. It's not the same level of care. And, you know, and Jada goes through this on the show as well.
I love what you guys are doing. I've been a day oneer because I remember when Ty got booked on the show, y'all debuted about the same time that we debuted. And I've just been cheering like for you guys the whole time. Yolanda Ross, I look forward to seeing so much more of you. Listen, follow another member of DBL Nation by watching season 4 of The Chi on Showtime. We'll be right back.
Thanks, Erica.
Times a day, you may get that insufferable call that has
This message is from the Social Security
or on the other end, and you've probably wondered, why can't we stop robocalls?
The US is somewhere close to 5 billion robocalls every month.
It's just certainly important to not pick up the phone unless you absolutely know who's calling.
Our sources are Alex Kalichi, CEO of UMail, a company that specializes in blocking robocalls, and Amy Knopfziger, Director of Fraud Victim Support for AARP.
Think of robocalls as like banner ads. They're really cheap, they're really easy to do, and enough people click on them or answer the call and respond that they're worth doing.
For something so easy to make, our experts say they're difficult to stop, especially when they come from spoofed phone numbers.
It's like a game of whack-a-mole. You take one down and another one pops up.
To start, law enforcement officials are limited by their jurisdictions.
So a lot of the call centers are actually overseas, but the biggest problem is it's hard to tell the good robocallers from the bad.
And that's the other point. States and the federal government can't just stop all robocalls. A large section of robocalls are actually helpful. They're used for prescriptions or for doctor's appointments. So in the meantime, companies like UMail have designed apps to weed out the bad ones. And our experts say the federal government recently passed laws to help cell phone providers do the same.
Because it's actually going to allow and empower these telecommunication companies to verify and authenticate the phone number that is showing up on your caller ID.
Welcome back to DBL. When it comes to your home, design trends can go in and out of style pretty quickly. According to an HGTV host, certain trends can actually tank your home's value. We're chatting about it in today's Bang for Your Buck, presented by The Hartford. So first, don't go overboard with do-it-yourself projects. DIY stuff are usually too personal, and potential home buyers may not appreciate your unique sense of style. Second, excessive tiling. It's a new and popular trend, but it can make the room feel smaller and busy. And last, avoid painting your walls gray. The color doesn't photograph well, which is important when reselling your home. So when it comes to your home, we've made it easy for quality and affordable home insurance. The Buck's got your back, and The Hartford will be happy to provide you solutions. So call The Hartford at 1-800-684-6085 or visit thehartford.com to learn more. You are Mr. DIY.
I might be overboard, and I have a gray wall.
You DIY things that I think...
DIY.
Of course. You DIY things that people want. A mudroom.
Yeah, but I would take things down. Like if I move, we do it to make ourselves happy. So I think do what makes you happy. You know what I mean? I'm not going to be like, in 20 years, I don't think some guy's going to come in here and like this.
Yeah, but you're not like putting in like a random elephant sculpture. You're putting in a mudroom. Who doesn't love a mudroom?
I have a fountain we're putting in our living room.
No, you're not.
Your mudroom is adding value for sure.
Very
but
much so.
I only do things that I can remove from the home that are like uniquely mine. Everything else that's attached to the house is more like anybody, because who knows where you're going to move.
How's the pool coming along?
I don't know what you're talking about.
I want a pool.
I'm excited. We'll be right back.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by
Local leaders and businesses are getting creative to try and convince people to get the COVID-19 shot. But do vaccine incentives really work? Let's connect the dots. It depends on how hesitant people are in the first place. The more hesitant someone is, the less likely an incentive will work. According to a recent poll, men were more likely than women to get the shot for a prize. The survey also found millennials were the age group most likely to be motivated by freebies. Cash is king. A study earlier this year found that 2/3 of adults say money is what's most likely to motivate them to get the vaccine. But some experts say incentives could backfire. Psychologists say offering cash for something makes people think there's a risk associated with it, which is not the case with the COVID shot. And that is connecting the dots.
This is for Jeff Schroeder from your co-workers at Daily Blast Live. Well, you've been around the sun another time, Jeff. That means you're a year older. One time around the sun is a year. Well, you want to be me for a day. Whoa. What you have to do is get up at 5:35 a.m. Get dressed, stretch out, brush your teeth, wash your face, and everything else you do by instinct. No plans. The best way to make plans is don't make them. Just be natural with it, your natural purpose of living. Now, we were both on Big Brother. I'm in London and you're in LA. Okay.
Tomorrow on DBL, inside the mind of the infamous Casey Anthony. Her former cellmate is speaking to DBL.
Did you ever point blank ask her, did you kill your daughter?
You know,
Don't miss this all-new True Crime Chronicles tomorrow only on DBL.
Welcome back to DBL. Erica, you got some comments?
Yes, Christopher on Facebook said, "Glad you guys are back together. You break up the afternoon great show. I never miss it." And Sam, I'm going to give you an opportunity to respond to this.
Yes.
Jennifer on Facebook says, "Was Sam making fun of a gift she received from a viewer? If so, how rude?"
Jennifer, that would have been rude, but the viewer wrote me a really silly tongue-in-cheek letter saying that she couldn't resist and that I have a voice of an angel, LOL. So I was responding knowing that the viewer came in with a tongue-in-cheek message with the Russian doll. I was trying to be tongue-in-cheek back. So no, I appreciate the gift. I was just trying to banter back with her original message. And I love this. Are you kidding me? Because I do misspeak.
Are you going to wear that at your 4th of July party? You just tell everybody you agreed to have a party, just so it's on record?
I'm going to have a party with a big pool, like an inflatable pool.
Okay. I didn't know if we were going to still have a job after you finished that.
Okay. DBL's new every day. We'll see you tomorrow, same time, same place. Bye, guys.